been chasing shadows in the night. Words echo silent where I hide. Every mirror shows a stranger's eyes, searching for the part of me that's mine. Let the sky ignites a spark inside, burning down to wait. In the ashes of my fight, truth is born again. I won't rise up like a phoenix from the flame. Find my voice and call out your name. From the roots of what I used to be, I'll embrace the truth and set it free. Blinded by the weight of all my fears, I let them break me, shake my tears. Every scar's a testament to life. Now I rewrite the story in my mind. Just feel the fire burning. I'm no longer turning away from the truth that's calling. I'm alive today. All I used to be, flash of freeness, flies Larry, set me free. Rising high, Phoenix, watch me go.
Brian is innocent. Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
All right. How is everybody on this amazing Friday afternoon, January 16th, 2026, y'all? I can't believe we've made it this far into the new year. Now, this is going to be a amazing live call-in with a special guest. You have already heard who it is. And if you've not heard of her, the real Jess Raines is knocking it out of the park. She is such a refreshing take in what she has to offer in the IDAHO4 case. Are we experts? No, by no means. We are skimming through the documents, reading them word for word, looking at every single aspect of this case. And I think we pretty much have agreed, obviously. Bodies were covered, and so was this case. Humbly, respectfully, in my opinion. Now, I just want to, before I bring her up on stream, I want to highlight a few rules real quick for this stream. Even though it is a live call-in, even though we have a very special guest live, I want to make sure that we all follow the rules today, because this is going to be really super important for this live stream to go very well. God only knows we don't need anything bad to happen, right? Be respectful. Obviously, that's the number one rule here. My mods are here. We are all ready to rock and roll. If you're a trolling today, keep on scrolling, because we are just not interested in any of the banter that you have going on out there today. Okay? So remember, I have some rules for you. I don't know why it popped up this way. Oh my God. Technology is so not perfect. But let me tell you, neither am I, and I make mistakes. So there might be some mistakes made, and it's okay, because we'll recover from mistakes. I just have to laugh sometime. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have one question or comment per caller. Keep it focused so more voices can be heard, please. If you are in a loud area, please consider muting yourself if needed. I'm only going to bring up one caller at a time. I'm going to drop the link in a few seconds. And let's remember, while Jess is speaking, there may be a delay, and that happens from time to time. It's not that somebody's trying to cut her out or overtalk her. So no interruptions. Stay on topic. Let's make sure that this relates directly to the Idaho 4 case. Time limit will apply. I'll give each caller 2 minutes to say what they want, ask a question, and then Jessica and I will talk back and forth and see if we can add anything to it. Let's remember respect and conduct. No harassment, threats, or intimidation. No personal attacks. No name calling. No doxing or private information. If you begin doing things like representing rumors as fact, you're going to be either timed out or just clearly released from this stream altogether. I think that's excuse me, I'm still trying to get over this cough. And I think that's pretty fair. So state clearly if something is an opinion or speculation. Opinions are welcome. Misinformation is not. No graphic descriptions, please, for the respect for the families and the victims. And definitely, please, in this stream, no conspiracy, flooding, or derailment. I would appreciate it. No legal advice or claims of inside knowledge. And if this is not the stream for you, quietly back away like Homer Simpson does. We encourage here open discussion, critical thinking. All opinions expressed by callers are their own and do not represent myself, Phoenix Talks, or our guest. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring up Jess. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, my beautiful kings, queens, and internet
Fantastic.
cousins. I'm super
Hello. How are you
excited for
today?
this stream. Super excited for this stream. We've been getting so many questions, and I'm super excited to hear what everyone has to say. So, thank you for having me again. I want to have some fun this Friday with the Idaho 4 case. So, let's figure some stuff out.
Absolutely. And my streams are usually live, Fun Fridays. And 2026, we've made some definite changes here on my stream. I'm so excited. You guys rock. So I am going to drop the stream link if anyone wants to call in. You will actually be put into the queue, and I will bring you up for a few minutes. And let's just follow the rules, and hopefully we will get the ball rolling. I do have a video to share if we don't have anybody calling in, Jess, that we can actually discuss. And, you know, I have been getting some backlash. Here is the stream link if anybody wants to join us live. I have been getting so much backlash for this stupid thing that I caught while playing the video really slow and paying attention to some of the things happening in the background. And I'm sure you have seen this picture. I don't mean to laugh. It's not funny, but it's odd. This is one of these oddest moments in the Idaho 4. I wouldn't say it's an oh my God moment because I still, to this day, don't know what this means. I still don't understand why it's there. And I think the only person that could ever explain it to us is probably the individual themselves who had this on their arm in a video on Gunderson's body cam. What do you make of this Gideon was here?
Man, I was like, that's freaking weird. It seems like, I mean, first of all, why did we never get to see the other side of her arm? Second of all, um, and that's another thing. I don't think they checked like hands, arms, fingers. They always do that. That's so freaking weird to me. But I don't know. At first I was really confused because I had a few commenters on my page that said like Gideon is something about justice, but then I really started thinking about it after watching her interrogation, Phoenix, and she literally said, "Oh, I watch a lot of Criminal Minds." Well, so I used to too. And Gideon is actually the head FBI profiler on Criminal Minds. So I just thought that was really strange. Another, what are the odds? That's kind of what I've been going off on this case. Like, what are the odds the way everything played out? And it looks like it's been scrubbed off. I've been trying to research who is Gideon. It's just really strange, but it's definitely, I feel like there was a lot of code word stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I kind of felt like maybe there was some kind of special message being sent out,
Hmm.
knowing that this was going to be on body cam. But see, this body cam didn't come until Law and Crime released this footage. And then more FOIAs started, being requested and answered. And then Gunderson's video cam shows it the most. Nunez, the guy that first got on scene, Officer Nunez, he has a picture of her arm, but they clearly have blurred it out as well as their faces, which has always baffled me in this case.
Hmm.
But Gideon, at first I was like, what is, Gideon? And this was actually on her arm in two of the body cams that I've seen. I did not AI write this on her arm. There, if I could do that, god damn, I'm gonna win the lottery this weekend. You know? If I am
Excuse me.
that good at doing something like this, technology wise, and 1.7 million people have seen this video, what are my odds in winning the lottery? But I did not AI write anything on her arm. It was in the body cam footage. And Gideon is such a different type of name. Yes, it's
Mhm.
biblical. Yes, there's some background information on it. Yes, there is Gideon International. It's like a entity out there in the area that's association, kind of like a I don't want to say a cult, but something similar,
Mm.
right?
That's very
And
interesting.
yeah, and then there was also the ISP. There was a FTO, a field training officer in the FBI named Gideon Roberts, allegedly, but it is in the documents. So, do we understand what that is? Probably not. But I will say, my gut instinct in looking at some of the things that I've been looking at, because in the beginning of all this, that I was talking to Bertie and we had a little show on, YouTube or TikTok before we got to YouTube. And I always said, I wonder if this has some religious context to it, right?
Mhm.
And you know that Pete Headsworth, the guy in charge of our Department of War, has some background in this case. Trump has commented on this case. Nothing, right? There was nothing. Um, and I'm wondering if this is just some political pull. And I've wondered this about some other things that have happened across our country before in
Mhm.
certain sheriff's departments, right?
Mhm.
And, Chief Fry never stepped foot at the crime scene. And I read an article that he didn't want to contaminate the crime scene. And he's also trained by the FBI, if you didn't know that.
Mhm.
Most sheriffs are. They're in really, I mean, that's who they communicate with the first. They run their counties very well. And I was wondering if this had some political, religious type of feel to it. I don't know. But why would she write Gideon was here? Or who would write Gideon
Mhm.
was here? That is a message clearly. And this takes me way back to in the beginning when I said, well, if they had Brian Koberger going out there and he was doing criminal profiling, was there a serial unaliver in that area?
Seems like it. Four people. I mean, what is it? Anything over two is a serial killer?
Yeah, but if you look at the history of these cases, could it possibly be that Koberger was profiling and trying to find the unaliver because the Pullman Four, someone broke in their college dorm or their off campus house. Now, I thought it really odd the other day that I found audio, a video, and it basically said that they were on campus, sorry, that this was an on campus. And I was thinking to myself, on campus? This wasn't on campus. Somebody must have got their facts wrong. And sure enough, guess who that came from? Officer Gunderson is
Mm,
on his body cam calling in on his phone to Casey. I don't know who that is. I don't know anybody's first name in this case. And basically, of the officers, and basically says, we got a quadruple homicide on campus. And I stopped and I thought, he clearly said on campus.
wow.
Now get me. I mean, a serial killer could be on campus. Did the killings in that short amount of, let's just say, 3 or 4 years increase in that area? I would probably say yeah. Do they have somebody on the loose poisoning people, stabbing people, ODing people? Is that even a thing?
Bro, I just got the cold chills. It's so weird, isn't it? It's just, it makes that just made my gut hurt, man. It really makes you wonder because I want to know, I mean, what I wondered is that we know that Brian interviewed at the Pullman Police Department. Did he maybe I mean, people have speculated that he was kind of arrogant and knew what he was talking about. Do you think that he could have possibly said something to somebody in the police department about something that they didn't know that he knew about, and he figured probably like, hey, they're trying to clean up the crime. So I don't know, I've always wondered that because I mean, just another thing, what are the odds that he interviewed for the same police force that ends up giving him, or between the two counties? It's just kind of weird. It's also strange. It really makes you wonder because it's the thing for me is like the ties. It seemed like he was more connected to like the around the officers, Brian was, than the girls, and the evidence, man,
Well,
Well,
here's
what
the
evidence?
thought after you. I agree with you. And now that you've just said that, I mean, think about it. He interviews and he says, I'm going to WSU. I am studying and I need to do my thesis on my PhD. I need to do X, Y, and Z, and I need the job here at Pullman. And when this first broke out and the chief over there was interviewed, he basically said in an article, I can't speak on that until I talk to the city attorneys. So I wonder if Brian was indeed working with them so that he can get his papers done, his study done, PhD, whatever. And this was probably something surrounding it. That was just my humble opinion, right?
Oh
So
no, I
I've got somebody backstage, and Cassie is coming up as a guest. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, Cassie, and I'm going to go ahead and bring you up and welcome. How are you today?
Hi, it's Casey, actually.
Oh, Casey. Okay, sorry, honey.
No, no,
What
it's okay.
you
Hi,
what you got
Jessica.
for us?
this is actually my best friend.
Oh, nice. Hey, welcome, bestie.
Hi. Okay, so I don't know if it's more of a question or maybe I just need something clarified for me. I'm just as deep into this as Jessica. We talk about it literally all day. Um, so I was came across a video and it's of the responding officer, the very first one. So he pulls onto I don't know if they pull onto Queen and then it turns into King or whatever, but they turns onto the street. He goes in, he comes back out. When he comes back out, Bethany is parking her car and she's getting out of her car with a friend. If she is supposedly there all night, he passes the car on the street. When he walks out of his car for the first time, you can see it at the other end of the corner. It comes back and parks behind him and she gets out. If she's there all night, where is she coming from with a whole nother person in her car?
Yeah.
Yep. I noticed that in the interrogations too. And when she walks up, like literally, first of all, they was all wrapped in blankets, covering their hands, arms, everything, and in fucking shorts. So that's so weird to me. I always point that out, but that's why in my theory, I really do think that when when Bethany texted Dylan and said, just come down here, I think, I mean, she was at the other house down the street. So that's what's weird, man, because if you watch her interrogation too, it's like she didn't know anything about anything. She cried really hard in the first 5 minutes, boo hoo, but who was she with and why weren't they investigated? And I almost wonder, did the killer have Dylan's phone? Because they texted Jack, come get your vape. They texted Bethany. Were they trying to lure more people there to kill them too? I don't know.
Oh, gosh, you've got some great points, though. I mean, I believe that when we see Bethany pull up, she parks. I think this is probably what you're talking about. And, the insight that you have about this case has been spot on. So, yeah, she does pull up. She pulls up right here. She gets out of the car. Now, I think, and this is just my humble opinion, this plate has a 1A plate.
I
So it's
seen
somebody who lives in Boise. Yeah, it's someone who lives in Boise because 1A is Ada County. I used to live in Canyon County, which is the next county over. And just like a few years ago, they started just giving anybody, either a 1C or a 1A plate where I was from. And I do have a feeling, and I said this the other day, that perhaps they weren't there and this was found out and they said everybody needs to get back here.
yeah, because she
And
was
they
pretty
started
much
calling people.
her.
Yeah.
It's like they
Yeah.
called
I
9
mean, if
and then they called her, or
if
vice like
she was if she was close to this 1122 over at the Whites or over at someone else's house, why would she need a car?
right.
Yeah, where was she driving from? I mean, if you were at home and you just found out that all of your roommates have been freaking slayed, I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, where, but that's what I wonder, man, because at first I was like, man, Dylan's freaking weird. But then when you think about it, like, if, unless she was for sure 100% tied into whoever did this and knew it was going to happen, I wouldn't put it past the killer or whoever was doing this to be texting from her phone because I mean, Kaylee, Jack, come get your vape. Were they, that's what I think they were trying to set him up. But also in Jack D's interrogation, they were asking like he was, or it was one of the Jacks, either Jack S or Jack D. They said they went to Boise. So maybe do we know exactly what either of the Jacks were driving? It's just really weird, man, because she does pull up, and this whole time I've always felt like maybe Dylan was in there. But like I said, dude, I wouldn't put it past whoever this was to walk in the house, shoot them up while they all are asleep. And because at first I was like, no, but I mean, what if Dylan got a drink ball? I mean, I've been roofied before, so I know. So that's why my brain goes back to like, well, maybe she did just get fucked over in this and pulled in, because I think the same thing happened to Molly, the DoorDash driver, if we're being honest.
I just don't know if she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there. Like, why lie? Just like I was home alone, but it makes their story.
Well, you have to have an alibi.
Exactly.
If you're not, if it was just Dylan there alone, she wouldn't have had you have to have somebody that can corroborate your alibi. And that's what I see in this case, Hunter and Emily. But oh, they're screaming Hunter all night, which yeah, there are two Hunters, but then everybody wasn't the fuck asleep. That's what makes me mad. And I mean, I don't know, but they do. Everybody lies. And like I said, the truth doesn't change. If you go back and watch the different timings of the interrogation, their stories change. And what I thought, I told you that, Casey, like the way that they huddle up when the officer's there and behind Dylan, I've never seen an investigation ran like that. They always separate. I had
Mhm.
something happen, and literally my neighbors were here and they separated us, asked us about our experiences, and that was it. So when I saw that everybody was just standing behind her listening, it's like, so was Dylan just supposed to, because she gave a phenomenal performance. I do want to say that, dude. She didn't care any other time, the other interrogation. She was ice cold. I don't know. Are they being forced to make it scripted or, but
Well,
Bethany wasn't there 1,000%.
here's what I've always thought. I thought that Dylan was there I've always thought Bethany was not. And this is Dylan's story because that is the way it seemed to be to me. And that's my opinion. So when Bethany shows up and they've got Dylan over there giving the first-hand account, and Bethany's in the background, and all she does is want to get the hell out of there, to me, it felt like this happened much earlier. The police were on scene. They had everybody come back and they put it on video camera. Because if you watch the video that I played yesterday or the day before, Throwback Thursday, it was yesterday. It seems like it's been forever. Chief Fry said that when they got there, the door was open. And after that, it feels like everything else has been scripted to fit the narrative to keep it on, the up and
Mhm.
up for the public. Because they knew one day all this was going to get released and then they'll deal with it back. They'll deal with all the backlash later. And it's not going over so well because people still are talking about it. And I think we have every right to talk about somebody who is the loner ninja incel that did this in under, I think my timeline is 7 minutes. That's
Wow.
just absolutely
And the
incredible
cleanup,
with two
the
different
forensics
weapons and
level cleanup.
cleanup. Yeah, I mean, it's
It's just,
wild.
I don't care what anyone says. It's not possible to do that
You
to
No.
know,
poor people.
it's not. I mean, I saw it. Have you guys ever seen the video? I think it might be Austin Fucci, maybe, but he killed this his best friend, like teenage girl, and he literally stabbed her like the same amount, like 120 times probably. And the girl sat at the grand jury desk and she dropped a marble into a container for every time that he stabbed her. And that alone took probably 3 to 4 minutes alone. So think about the human body and the anatomy of it and the way cartilage and bone. I'm sorry. There's no way. There's no way. And there was multiple different, so he was running through there with 2 or 3 different weapons, knives, because he has that many hands. And doing that to all, like I said to Birdie last night, bro. If it was me, Casey, and Phoenix, we would kick Brian Koberger's ass. I mean,
Yeah. I would
even
have
if he
fought for
ran
my,
in and tried to
yeah.
grab one of us. I mean, there was 6 people supposedly in that house. uh, it
And
makes no sense.
somebody with eye nighttime issues, visual
Mhm.
snow, right? In obviously they say the lights were all on, then they say they were all sleeping. So usually when I fall asleep, my lights are off. But I mean, if you think about it, there is a comment from Amanda B. What do you think about this comment? $118,000, you will keep your mouth shut. That
I
is referring to the GoFundMe that Dylan has.
I would not. If these are supposedly my best friends and I heard them get killed, I'm not keeping my mouth shut for any amount of money, especially if they're about to throw the wrong person in jail the rest of his life.
It's terrifying, dude. I can never imagine, Casey. Imagine if me and like all the vacations we've went on, all the weird shit, everywhere we go, we've always had everyone's back. That's why I've always wondered, was it like a swim fan situation and Dylan was tied into the people, or it just feels weird. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe Dylan was personally victimized and maybe it was she got knocked out, because I wouldn't put it, whoever did this is fucking sadistic and they're probably listening, but I don't see them just letting someone stay loose in the house. And there is also a door inside the house that has like a key code on it where you type the numbers in. And I don't know if they ever showed
Mhm.
us the inside of that room, but I wondered if they maybe locked her in there, or because what I think they were going to probably kill Dylan. And when Ethan walked in, like I said, they were getting ready to leave, or maybe, but it's weird because they said, let's get ready to go home, or whatever the fuck they said. So for one, if it was just Brian Koberger, hello, who would he be talking to? That's insane. It was
Mm-hmm.
2 different male voices. And so did Dylan just slip by because of that? Or was Dylan not there and left our phone? Or I don't know, because it feels like whoever's doing this is very much like a threatening type person. So I wouldn't put it past them. And then, if somebody's got some shit to clean up, dude, money pays for a lot of things. And I mean, You wouldn't believe it. The amount of people who would even sell their own freaking their kids out and shit. It's insane.
Yeah,
You've
people
got
sell
a
their
valid point
for
there.
dime bags. So yeah, someone definitely would sell their soul just to not go to prison.
Do you think? Oh, absolutely. And Dylan's mom is stepmom, I should say, is a was a former Ada County prosecutor for the DA's office. So, I mean, it. Do you think this might have been about drugs, marijuana, coke, anything like that? Do you guys really believe that this was involving that?
Uh,
I've contemplated it. I really have, just because the double dipping. And there's a clip, I don't know the officers all by name yet, but he walks up, it's nighttime, and he's like, I need whoever lives here to come down. And I was like, what the? So I mean, is it a fruity and slip, or is there something? Because like I said, at one between 104 and 106, we see the 3 to 4 males in all black enter the home. But at one point, it almost looks like we were talking about last week, the game bags. I was thinking maybe a tarp. Did the room with the door code
Mm,
have drugs in it? And this was a house like that, and they, I mean, you're a young kid. That's what I said. I'm almost 35, but imagine being that young, and whoever did this is obviously sick in the head. Imagine how scared you would be. Would you just do it because of, your fear? Maybe, I don't know. Because there's another clip that they swore was not Maddie. They come for a noise complaint, and she's standing on the porch with a boy. And when she spots them, she runs in the house. So it was just really weird. Was it like a rug thing, and they were forcing them to do it because they were pretty or new? I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past it, because they said something about something being flushed. And then if you look in the documents, it said that they had to go to Jack S's house and his toilet wouldn't flush. So did that happen? Did one of the girls take the things somewhere else? Because $275,000 worth of drugs is really 2 million on the street. So
yeah, that's true. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but was it an inside job? They yelling the cartel did it, and it couldn't be the frats. But when we look at these documents that they've released to the public, it looks like everything led them down to Boise, which the only person in that house that lived that was from that area was Dylan. Bethany was from Nevada, and the only other person that was, even connected to that area was Dylan. That's it. And then if you
well,
look at the outside of that house and who Xana partied with, Jack Showalter was one of those. Hunter, Emily, a lot, all these other people were from the Boise area. Connor Chestnut, never saw his name before until I saw the state's exhibit list.
uh-huh.
That's where his was. And I wanted to make this point the other day, and I totally slipped my mind. There was the state's exhibit, and I wanted to ask you about this, Jess. State's exhibit showed, and here is that exhibit, showed that these death certificates were pending. Okay, but here's the point I want to make on these death certificates that were pending. The state was getting ready to go to trial, and they enter this document into evidence. And I'm going to scroll over and you can see the file time stamp when it was filed. 4/21/25. And the death certificates were still pending?
Wow.
hmm.
I'm telling you, they don't
Like
want
what?
something to come out. It doesn't make sense, man. I don't know, but the fact that there was gunshots fired that night, I almost wonder, like, was there a party that went wrong and someone got shot? So they were like, whatever, we're just going to make it look like this was, a bigger thing. Or, it's weird, because why are all the times messed up? And they even said something about, like, oh, we've been so transparent, and making everything I don't, it doesn't make sense. Just like the knife sheath. If you found the knife sheath on the 13th, then why was the chain of custody on the document started on the 16th?
Oh
That
yeah,
seems
I
like you have
agree.
enough time to order a fucking knife sheath off of Amazon and list it in evidence. And at that point, I mean, there was no blood on it, dude. It makes no sense. And if you were going to go in and do a quadruple homicide in under 7 minutes, do you think you would take your gloves off that you put on to keep your anonymity to? And I mean, wouldn't he have left any skin cells on the backside of the thing? It's only on the button. And wouldn't it have left a fingerprint? And that's all they have.
Oh,
But then where are all the other weapons? I mean, they said there's multiple weapons. Where are those? Is that what Molly came to get in the middle of the night? Because the DoorDash order, everything is so screwed up in this case, man. And I don't know.
or
It doesn't make sense.
Was Molly there to pick up the drugs from
That could
Dylan?
be, that could be it too. But I really started thinking yesterday, dude, with the timing. If my theory was correct, Phoenix, then that would mean that if the girls got unalived between 3:46 and 3:47, they go to leave at 3:48 after standing there like a bunch of creepy pedophile stalkers. And they go to walk out. You hear two different sets of footsteps, and they did sound loud. So I can see where Dylan's Doc Martens bullshit came from. But they go to walk out. They must have literally just hit the outside of the doorway. And Ethan says, "Oh shit, I'm calling 911." Then you hear that's three. So this is 3:49, but by 3:51, you hear the thud. And I guess what time Molly pulls up? 3:51. Then Dylan texts
Oh
someone at
yeah,
3:54.
351.
So is that why Molly was so freaked out when she had delivered in the area? Because that thud haunted me for a week, and I sat there staring at that house inside and out, saying, "What could have made that fucking noise?" It had to
I
have
was
been the
always
balcony
thinking
or
she
the
went
top of
there
the
to.
roof. Did he try to jump out of a window? They said they
I
saw
always,
a naked man
yeah.
running. You know, that's what
Well, that
freaks
would
me out.
that would that he had no clothes on. His clothes were in the bathroom. And, I mean, it could have been anyone caught with, maybe Xana and Ethan were in the bedroom and someone caught them in the middle of something. I don't know. But I will say what I do know and what makes sense to me the most is, what if the Door Dasher wasn't there to deliver, but to pick up?
Hmm. Yeah,
What would
exactly,
she be
man.
picking up?
I don't know, but we've never that's what gets me, bro. How are you gonna fucking say that he did this, give him 4 life sentences, and you don't make him produce or a murder weapon or explain anything at all? But there's multiple pictures of Dylan with swords and knives that are way bigger than K-bars, dude. So what is going on? Where are the weapons?
Well,
Why did someone go to South Africa, Mexico, and fucking Boise or wherever else? It really makes you wonder, who was the dude at the trash can at 3 in the morning? Is that what happened when Jack D says I did it? If that was him at 5 in the morning, was he picking up something too? Is that what they did? I don't know. But Molly definitely, I don't know. I
I
feel like
always.
she was pulled into this. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I think Molly was too. Uh, uh, Bestie, do you have anything else you want to throw in there real quick before I let you go?
Um, I was gonna say about this lawsuit that just came out. I did hear a theory about this, so I don't know if it's true. Just word on the street, TikTok street. Um, so I heard that no college is gonna want to dish out close to $500 million to these families. The theory is that these families know that this is not right, that this is not really what happened. And the reason that Brian didn't say anything when he was sentenced is because if he did, it could be held against him if the
Uh-huh.
bill were to get open again. So the theory is this college is going to reopen this case, prove that Brian was never really a threat, that he never actually did it. He's going to get exonerated, and that school will not have to pay the money to these families.
It would be really nice, man. It would be really nice for someone to do their
Wow.
fucking job, man. It would be so nice. And
Yeah.
somebody even commented on my thing, like, you're gonna fuck up the lawsuit for these parents, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, what do you mean? If there's a serial killer out here, what do you mean? And I wouldn't put it past them, man. I mean, what struck me as odd is I found a photo on Google. I don't even know how. showing that the president of the school knew or was friends with a man named Dylan Mortensen, or I mean, what was his name, Casey? Something Mortensen. But I was like, that's weird. So was Dylan, because they did also kind of look similar. So is that why Dylan was spared? Is she tied into someone who's tied into the school? Or I don't know. So is that how she was pulled in too? But people will do anything. That school is not going to want to pay that lawsuit. And that's why I think maybe if it did actually happen on campus, because that car drove back and forth all night, they moved it if it did happen on campus, just so they wouldn't have to pay anything. Because, like I said, money's the root of all evil. And now we got crypto and shit. So who knows?
Yep.
I really think, the location of this house, the undercover officers watching this area, I kind of feel like they weren't like watching, they were protecting this area. And if Molly, basically was there to pick up, what was she picking up? And
Mm-hmm.
how did Dylan get her contact information? So, I mean, there's a code and a system for everything, right? Do you remember back in the day on a Craigslist that people would meet up and, do some nefarious things with
Uh-huh.
drugs and other things? That was the form of communication back then. So how do we know it wasn't Snapchat or DoorDash or some other, app that they were talking in, right? Because I mean, we're all adults here. These apps are used for a lot more than people think, just
Mm-hmm.
communication, right?
Mm.
And what was this police department protecting in this area? Well, we know now, obviously, they've protected the college, they protected the students. And I I just feel something in my gut that tells me, WSU Kim was
Uh-huh.
telling everyone that there was going to be some type of shakedown, and that didn't mean for all this to happen. And but I'll tell you, I believe Dylan has the key. She knows exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow she's involved. And why would somebody get this on their arms for life if they didn't know who went first? Why would they get MKXE when we've always been told that that was the other way around?
Oh yeah.
Because they're trying to
I
hide the shit, man. They're trying to mess up the timelines. I mean, I don't know. I talked about the concrete last week, and if you look, the concrete gets cleaner and cleaner. But from what I listened to on the tapes, I mean, I do need to go through and listen to the girls' voices a little better. But why, if it wasn't Matt, it was Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, Xana, then why did, when he was like, I fucking loved you, Kaylee, and Maddie's like, Kaylee, I think, unless it was Dylan, but it wasn't Bethany, I don't think. I mean, I could hear the Maddie, Kaylee, the two males, and then when Ethan and Xana get home, I think they had just got home. They probably had their pizza. They were getting ready to take a shower and go to bed, and he heard, I mean, if you walked in your house and heard two men talking, what are you going to do? You're going to go be like, what the fuck? Who's in here? And the fact that Steve was like, oh, well, she couldn't even run away because, you know what I mean? So were they on the top floor? Is that what they thought that they could? Because I mean, I really do think that Ethan got pushed off the balcony. So I don't know. But I don't believe that that's the order they went into. But I believe at this point, if they paid them enough, they'll say anything just so they don't get killed. I think that's why Dylan was so emotional at the sentencing, because she knew it wasn't BK, and she knew she was going to be locked out here on the fucking streets with a serial killer probably forever, unless something happens. And they thought this case was just going to be, oh, Nancy Grace Bryan didn't tell you what happened. Nobody cares.
Yep.
I think
so
they thought it would
you
die
know
down, but there was a shot. I'm sorry, I have squirrel brain. There was a shot in the middle of the night between 2 and 3 before everything else. There's a point where she gets strangled. There is a shot in the middle of the night, though. And the guy, it sounded like a younger male, says, oh shit, like he didn't mean to shoot. So is that what happened? And then they were like, well, if there's already this, and this, because I was thinking in the way that they said that Ethan's legs were ritualistically carved, if you were to take an AR or a powerful gun and shoot somebody in the back of the fucking kneecaps to keep them from running, it would probably split their leg wide open. And Casey's in medical, so I'm sure she can attest to that.
Yeah, especially about Kaylee's face when they're saying it was completely like unrecognizable. So I do work in trauma at a level 1 hospital, and I have seen pictures of people who have actually been shot in the face. Um, and it can make you unrecognizable, and it can break every bone in your face and knock all of your teeth out like it did her. So
I've even contemplated Phoenix if like because if Kaylee and Maddie were being stalked, I literally asked Casey today, like, dude, I wouldn't put it past them to have had another person that passed away that night and then literally just, kidnap Kaylee or fucking have her in a shed tied up like Black Snake Moan. I mean, I don't know, but everything's been lies. And we know how big HT is, especially probably around big colleges. Why was all the cops in fucking plain clothes at the bar that night? And it's the biggest game night of the year. Shouldn't you have been looking out for DUIs or, I mean, maybe trying to stop this from happening? I don't know, but it seems weird. Casey, how many times have you and I, back when I used to drink, go to the bar and you don't just see the regular fucking sheriff, whatever our sheriff's name is at the bar in
right.
plain clothes. And it wasn't just him. Like, so who was on fucking duty is my question. Damn. Sorry, I get fired up, man. It makes me
So I
upset.
just want to no, I like the spicy, Jess. So let me just say for the viewers, the listeners, I like to keep my Friday streams in a podcast style type, so you never have to feel any pressure about going live and showing your face or anything like that. But let me just specify, Jess keeps talking about some audio that was released by a creator on TikTok called Emily, and I've played it here before. And if you slow it down, if you listen very closely, you can hear most of this. Now, is this true, certified, that audio that you could use in court? I don't know. I don't know who actually released it. It was not released by the MP directly to the public. It was released to a certain couple of creators that FOIA'd this information. Now, if it had gone to court, that audio would have had to be authenticated. So who knows where this audio came from, but it sounds like it fits the theory that follows the actual court documents and the documents from the ISP and the MPD, because you have to go back. If you followed me for any time, you know that I have this amazing list that I have shared over and over again, the working theory that the Moscow Police Department was working with. And a lot of these initials that were labeled involved, we have gone through the list that has been public information. Now, there is one initial on here that has not been released publicly that I have stayed away from talking about until someone releases it publicly. But every single person on this list that says involved, they were actually in the documents somehow related or involved to this. Even the chicken guy who got his hand cut. He was cutting a chicken sandwich, AA. And, everybody else on this list that I've highlighted involved has played somewhat of a part in this. Now, do you think we will ever get to the truth, Jess?
I mean, at this point, Phoenix, they've fucking covered so much shit up. I feel like that's why they did this, because they know that there's something. I don't know what it is, dude. I get the sickest, sinister feeling in my gut when I talk about this case, when I talk about the deeper level of corruption that's in it, because if there was nothing to hide, you wouldn't be hiding anything. So why did it take so long to get all this information? Why, it just seems so staged, bro. Like, the more I read this book Framed by John Grisham, and you see the way, because normal people like us, we don't think corrupt like that. You would never just walk out in the street and think about, but this was meticulously planned. And I mean, even one dude, there's no way BK did this, clean the crime scene, all the other shit. And then there's 56 evidence markers in the entire case. it feels more like they were trying to get rid of evidence. You know what I mean? So to the people that are like, "Oh, he's definitely guilty. Why are you supporting a serial killer?" Like, dude, are you kidding me? If you were the one behind bars and it happens every day, and just like Casey said about him not talking, that's the best decision he could have ever made. Why would you talk to a place that's trying, or an institution or whoever, if they're trying to say that you absolutely did something? We're at the time and age and technology where if we were to take a fucking road trip, the car would record it all. It has OnStar, it has GPS, there are satellites. Why don't we get the extra data? Why don't we get that? Why don't we know why the internet was off in the middle of the night? And like I said, if these girls were being stalked, because that was the first story they dropped, that I believe, I promise you, when I was thinking about it today, I swear the first story that dropped was college kids slaying, girls stalked from social media or OnlyFans or something. And they switched that. And why would they? Because if you go, I mean, if that's the truth, why would you change the story? And second of all, if Brian Koberger was stalking these people, don't you think he would have had photos of them saved, or would have been visiting their profiles nonstop, or there would have been something else? So it smells cover up. And I don't think, unless there's somebody who really, really gives a shit, dude, that the fact that there could be how countless other many victims, then I don't know. People would literally rather kill people to shut them up than for the truth to come out, because they don't want to go to prison. But I do think they had it out for BK because he was smart and he probably was profiling the area, because Casey, of all people, knows I'm neurodivergent. I will follow a pattern to the end of the fucking rabbit hole, dude. And I think that's what he was doing.
Yeah, you got to follow the patterns. Rule number one. And just wanted to say thank you for your bestie popping up in here. If you want to join the chat or ask a question or have a little discussion, feel free to hit that link and it'll bring you right up. So thanks for coming up and bringing some really good points to us.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
You are
Love you,
so
Kay. Bye.
welcome.
I'll call you when I get off the stream.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Too funny. She sounds like
I
a
told her to make a
smart
freaking
girl.
channel, dude. She is. I told her to make a channel. I've been telling her. So I'm so glad that she called in today, because she's so smart too. And she has a lot to bring to this investigation. I told her, make a freaking channel called On the Case. It sounds good. Her name's Casey, On the Case.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially on her back end of her career, and absolutely. So if you want to ask a question here, this is a live call in. We're just having a little bit of fun talking about the Idaho 4 case, keeping it real, keeping it live, because there is a factually innocent man sitting in prison for the rest of his entire life. Could you imagine being in prison with limited options? And don't get me wrong, I know he's autistic and routines are good for autistic individuals, but I would hate the fact that, obviously he's smart, he's going to school, he had a routine, he was able to go where he needed to go on his own free will. But could you imagine a limited space, a set schedule, no outdoor time? I would freak
Uh-uh.
the heck out on day one. I would.
Especially because he's like me, and I love, when I have bad anxiety, to take drives no matter what time it is. I've done that since I was a young kid. It just really helps me clear my mind so I can understand that. And people don't understand, Phoenix. I was literally in a jail for 20, like less than 20 hours, and it's absolutely terrible. People never shut up. They're screaming, they're fighting. It's never normal. Um, so just imagine, if you were innocent, being locked up with people who actually are murderers and killers and all this weird stuff, dude. That's what I want people to understand, man. You know, it's easy to just say something, but when you have no evidence, that's what really pisses me off. I've never seen anyone just get slammed like that and have no circumstantial, no nothing. And I believe that if they really delved into this, that if Bethany did have exculpatory evidence, that they would be able to maybe possibly get him exonerated off of a Brady clause, but I don't know. Because at this point, I mean, obviously, and look at that. They wanted to use this just like Bertie said last night. They wanted to use this AI predictive programming shit so bad. Did they just say, you know, heard that two other people were unalived and were like, fuck it, we need four to get Palantir off the ground or whatever the case may be? I wouldn't put it past anything. Look at Suhir Balaji, I think is his near, or Suchir Balaji and Sam Altman. You know, you don't know. And
Yep.
especially nowadays, there's crypto. That's why I say follow the money, man. Who had the fucking most to gain? And like I said, I just think that the target was attacked for Kaylee and Maddie. They had stalkers or something, dude. You don't know when you do social media. You don't know who's watching. You don't know who gets a random obsession. And that's what makes me mad also, because there would have been fucking data on Brian's phone more than just he went to Kaylee's profile once. Anybody can get on a phone and type in a website once. There's no pattern. There's no history. He has no fucking history of violence. He doesn't even get parking tickets and shit. So it just really blows my
Yeah.
mind. And I'm sorry, it fires me up, you guys. I don't mean to be so like, but if you were innocent sitting in a prison cell, and even if you have the best attorney in the entire world, when they're doing everything and denying every single you know, order you sent in for whatever and everything gets denied, what does that feel like? Can you imagine how Ann Taylor felt representing Brian Koberger, and every fucking time she had anything important, they were like, nope, we don't care. Nope, we don't care. Nope, don't. Presumptive yes on the blood, or you can't do it, knowing damn well that they cleaned every crook, you know, cranny, crook, crevice before anything, because where there was no splatter, dude, there was nothing.
Well, let me tell you, I went down the rabbit hole a couple months ago and I saw this article because I had been searching to get to the bottom of what possibly could be Gideon was here. And do you know, Peter Thiel, he actually has a launch of Gideon. It's an AI driven threat detection platform
Oh my
designed
God.
designed for US law enforcement, signals the entry into an era of algorithmic
Oh my
pre
God.
crime policing. Now, if Dylan had Gideon was here and President Trump commented on this case, which I have never seen anyone in the history of any crime that I've been following comment that this is nothing. This was developed by former Israeli Defense Forces operator Aaron Cohen, and it's called Gideon. It leverages continuous internet scraping, behavioral profiling, and advanced technology counter-terrorism frameworks. Now, let me preface this before everybody gasps. WSU was doing predictive profiling. I know that from the study when Bertie and I were talking, and I said, let's look into the money part. There's plenty of studies that are funded out here. In the time and age that we live in, this is almost real time. This was August. We're just figuring this out in January. It's somewhat real time. Look at the political landscape that we are going through right now in our country. Look at the I don't want to be the one to say it, but I'm always the one to release it first, and I will say it. I'm not saying this is it, but I believe, alleged, this could be something dealing with the predictive criminal profiling, with the Idaho4 agenda, with the WSU lawsuit, and simple down to the thing that was written on Dylan's arm. Could it be that much of a coincidence? Or could it be just some guy, random guy named Gideon at WSU? Could it be? Think about this for a minute. I'm going to show you that somebody just sent me this, and I thought, well, I'll look into it. This just going to play a clip, and let's see what this guy has to say. Be open-minded to the things that I share you. I'm not saying this is it. It's golden. It's written in stone. I'm being open-minded.
I got a lot of clothes on right now, so hopefully the sun comes out a little bit. Hoping positive thoughts. I wake up. If I'm feeling good, I'll shower. Maybe get some coffee in me. Maybe some food from leftovers from Domino's last night, and then I'm going to the store getting some refreshments. And
now, if this was mainstream news and this guy was allegedly arrested for this crime, they would have been all over him. This guy drinks Coors Light and White Claws. How many people drink White Claws and Coors Light? Right? I'm just
I'm
being
telling you, I don't
realistic
believe
here.
in coincidences, man. It
ideally,
feels
I'll be on
like
top of that
somebody's
thing.
tied to the
Sunny
media.
outside. But if it's not, I'll be inside and just kind of putting some back, and hopefully that'll go down easy. This is my 5th year, and I got another year at least if I pass all my classes.
5th year?
If I'm lucky.
Well, I'm a 5th year, and I've known Gideon my whole time here in college, and shoot, he was here before I got here.
He's changed majors like 6 times. Honestly, the kid's just, he's just not that smart. He failed art. Who fails art?
He'll probably be here after you leave, and sure enough, he's not graduating now. He's graduating at least next year.
It's the best time of your life. That's why I'm still here. Like everyone says that your undergrad is the best time of your life, so why cut that short?
He's a ringer. He's our best player on our team. Gideon Manahan, the kid is just a star.
GM?
Outside of Pullman, you're a real adult. You have real problems.
If I had any advice for him, it'd be to change your major again, just so he can keep playing intramural softball.
To see what my major is when I graduate and kind of do something with that, hopefully.
What is your major?
Last time I checked, it's general studies. So whatever that does for me in the real world, I'll just do that, I guess.
Who is this guy related to?
I don't know. I mean, I guess the FBI could do a 23andMe on him too, but I want to say, as much as everything's felt so staged in this case, that feels like crisis actors to me. And I want to point out that I was doing like a Google Maps overview because obviously they don't show you shit from the ground. So I was doing an aerial view, and there's a theater school right by King Road. So that's what vibe that gave me. That seemed like something that's on like Trailer Park Boys, like just to see, like it just seemed very scripted to me. But I mean, I'm telling you, what are the odds? I mean, the media will tell you anything. They've did that from day one. The story's changed 1,000 times. They don't care. They just want whatever's going to get them the most views. You know what I mean? It's sick.
Right.
That's why when the Bryans here quit, man. I'm sorry. go ahead.
Yeah, that just, I mean, how many Bryans were at the U of I? That could have been any Brian. I'm just
And I
being
mean,
devil's
who's the
advocate
girl?
here.
And so that obviously means that you were in the house. Why did nobody sound freaked out? It just sounded like you was, you know that, what's the movie where he's like, do you want to see a dead body? And they go out to the railroad tracks, the really old one.
Stand By Me.
Yeah, that's what that reminds me of, man.
Yeah, I've got Marshall backstage. I'm going to bring you up, Marshall. Remember the rules if you weren't here at the time. No graphic descriptions, no conspiracy flooding. Be respectful. Let's go, Marshall. Welcome in.
Happy Friday, ladies. In Phoenix, thank you for having me, and thank you for all that you do. You're a brilliant mind, and I love your perspective. Allegedly, I like in the cast of characters that I've met through kind of you, and I just want to thank you, Phoenix. You know, the same type of people. This is the most bizarre case I'm 56 years old, and I'm not big into crime and murder and all this. It's just a weird thing how I kind of fell into this type of thing, and I've been following it since day one, and it's become so insane. It's like I don't even know where to start, Phoenix. It's mind blowing. It blows my mind. I can't wrap my head around it.
Marshall, let me ask you. You're a distinguished gentleman. Tell me, have you ever seen a case like this before that just baffles your mind? You can't put your finger on it, but you know something is not right?
Well, it was kind of obvious from the start, at least, Occam's razor, however you phrase it, that, it was like a crime of passion where, there was, brutally, it seemed like there was someone that really targeted Kaylee. The more it came out that she was, really attacked more, it seemed. And it seemed like a lover of some sort, an ex-lover or whatever it may be. Because when the press first came out, they said you don't really have to worry about it. I think that I could be way wrong because it seems so long ago, which it kind of was, but it gets crazier and crazier. But since day one, and then you think it's all these different cast of characters, like the game of Clue, but a real live brutal murder, and they come up with this one guy to do it, never been in the facility at night. Goes in there and does that with a knife. I mean, it's just, and to get out of there in that time with no blood everywhere and it doesn't make any sense unless he was a Marine, a Rambo. Then you think it's just so crazy with all the footage of Hunter he puts his hands on his head, Phoenix, just like that Watts character.
Chris Watts.
It was the same pose. It was the same exact thing. I wish someone could put those two together and watch him do it. It was
I'll
so
definitely do that.
eerie.
That's a really good point, Marshall.
And he picked up a knife. The dude had a knife. There was a stabbing, and I think the knife he put on the ping pong table, whatever, had blood on it. And it was like this was 8 hours. And then it's so mind blowing, Phoenix. I can't, and it really, I hate shit to eat me up, but I feel so bad for those victims. Because I think it was something that went terribly wrong or horrifically wrong or whatever it may be. I can't wrap my head around it. But it's really touched me, Phoenix, and it's touched a lot of people. And I just can't thank you enough, Phoenix, for sharing your thoughts and letting other people share their thoughts. Thank you once again, Phoenix.
Yeah,
The victims deserve it. They deserve it.
They do. I appreciate you calling in and letting us know they do deserve justice. And I don't believe a cold case with two blood DNA of two individuals not identified and a man factually innocent, sitting in jail is mind blowing. Because this could have been you, Marshall. It could have been me. It could have been anyone here. But it was Brian Koberger.
They pick out, and I believe he's autistic, Phoenix. I believe he might be an autistic.
Yeah, they're more.
So sad.
They're more able to be manipulated. I did a whole series on it, and I have a son with autism. They can be manipulated in ways that they're trying to help people, but it's not the right kind of help. So thanks for calling in, Marshall. If anybody else wants to call in, we appreciate having you on. Take care. If anybody else wants to dial in, I'll drop the link once again. We have had some amazing people up here on the chat. I saw some other people that dropped off. I hope you come back on. Feel free to hit the link again. I'll bring you up quicker. I didn't see you sitting there for a little while, so I do apologize. And I would love to hear, any questions from even my mods. You guys are always welcome to come up here and voice your opinions or ask a question. Jess has listened to a lot of audio. She's been watching for over a year. She got the nerve to go ahead and start speaking on this. And I will tell you, she has been nothing but positive that hopefully some break in the case, something will spark someone's ears, the right person listening. And that was my goal, just to have one person hear this case and dig deep into it. Dina, welcome in. How are you? Hopefully I can hear you.
Can you?
Sorry. Hope you meant to dial in.
I did dial in.
Hi,
hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. And you guys?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, my little statement that I want to make
for us today
is, I'm glad I'm here too. I love you guys. Is that
out? I don't know if you if you're calling
okay?
In from
Can
your
you hear?
phone?
I'm calling in from my phone. Uh-oh.
I can hear her.
Oh, I can't hear her. Something is maybe on my end. Hold on a minute. All right, how about now?
You tell me. Testing.
Yeah, I can hear her, Phoenix.
Something is not working for me on my end.
Come on,
I
Bella.
can't hear her. Let's try now. There you are. I see you.
Yeah. Well, I forgot to feed the dogs because I was busy listening to you guys. I was like, oh.
How are you?
So they're like, okay, hurry up, Mom. But my thought goes back to Hunter. Mr. Hunter. This whole knife on the ping pong table. He's the one that placed it there. Did we not see him place that knife on that table?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we didn't
All right.
see him, but I heard him in the body cam. You hear it
All
go
right.
thunk, and
Yeah.
he turns around, and then mysteriously the knife is magically on the table.
But the knife also had blood on it. It
Now,
looked like it was put underneath the water for a little bit, like watered down blood.
Mm-hmm.
it looked like there was blood on the table. I cannot say for sure there was blood on the knife. I would only hope that they had done some forensics on it because I've never seen any forensics done on the steak knife, the Taylor knife, or the Kershaw knife. And, from that video, it does look like there's some liquid substance. I don't know if it's
Okay.
water, don't know if it's blood.
But I know that on one of the pictures, it looks like watered down blood to me. And I
Do
thought I
you think
heard
that maybe we were told that there was some experimental wounds that
exactly.
happened after. Yeah.
And that's why I was thinking maybe Hunter might have did some stabbing of his own after they were all dead. But the blood that was on the knife, from what I understand, was Kaylee's. Was it
Now,
not?
I have still not found any forensic evidence to specify
Mhm.
it was Kaylee's.
Okay.
I have looked through these documents meticulously to find that needle in the haystack, and I have not seen it. But it is speculation. We could allege that somebody went in there and possibly
Well, it could have been
experimented
any
exactly.
of them.
Yeah, I mean,
It could have been any of them.
Might I
if
add,
you're,
though, that Hunter and the cop were homeboys?
yeah.
Well, it makes it easier for him to do experimenting.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Well,
I really think they were trying to just cover it up and make this such a mind fuck because they knew if they didn't, they would get caught. There's the clip where the cops are in the kitchen and he's like, that's weird. There's a little bit of blood by the sink, but it felt more like they were trying to get rid of it than swab it or something to me. It was just very strange the way that he said that. And then just for the lack of blood, but then Xana was clearly bloody. So did somebody go in after all of that? Did they have time to do Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and then still go in? If the DoorDash driver's there, the sun's coming out, it makes me wonder. It took them a long time. Did it just stop it? Because I haven't listened to audio later through past 6 a.m. So I don't know. But I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past that
Well,
because
I still think Dylan might have given Kaylee a few jabs on her own, just because I've always heard their relationship was a little jealousy between Dylan and Kaylee.
I want to note that if you pay attention to their hands, when the first initial police body cam, people were in hoodies covered in blankets. They were hiding their hands, but one of Dylan's seemed kind of bruised to me, and I believe it was like maybe Jack Decor. When I have really bad arthritis and osteoporosis from a bone disease that I have, and when my hand hurts like that, I hold it the exact same position she was. And for some particular reason, she kept hiding her, I would assume, dominant hand. I can't confirm, obviously, but so why? And why did Hunter have to make a point to say, oh, I came over in shorts and a hoodie, so you knew that I wasn't going to, I'm not going to be here long? Who would think that? Who's going to look at somebody and be like, oh, he wore shorts. He must have not planned on being over there long. Like, it's like you ever told somebody something and then they fucking repeat exactly what you said to them like they said it first? That's what it felt like. It was really weird. It feels like a really bad game of telephone. Like somebody said, you better say this, or I
Well,
don't know. It's untelling how many culprits were in on it. But one person, I don't, how are you going to use that many weapons with two hands, four people? Nobody, he had no bruises, no wounds on him, nothing on him, no. So, no, it would doesn't make sense. And I mean, for the fact that they didn't, I've never seen any videos or, I mean, first of all, they blurred out everyone's faces. If you were doing an active murder investigation and releasing clips to the public, why would you blur out everyone's faces that could be possible suspects unless you were trying to hide that somebody was around the girls or you were trying to hide something? It just doesn't make sense. Then the Gideon clip, it feels like the media has just been paid off in this case. And I mean, that's what probably 95% of journalism is nowadays, too.
yeah, explain to me why you can't you can walk into a house of 4 deceased stabbed people as a nurse. You could smell the blood for one, and for two, you should have been able to see because apparently somebody did state that they saw that there was blood everywhere. But yet, when the cops are walking through there, they're not redacting very many places with that should have had blood everywhere.
And
I mean, it
I've
should have.
watched
But
a lot of, oh, go ahead.
let me say this. Before I went back into
Oops, sorry.
IT in technology, I was in nursing school. And I'm going to just say this because doesn't blood smell differently fresh than after the fact? I've gone in many morgues and, weeping wounds, they smell differently. So I would only think that, in my humble opinion, if this was related to, let's just say, OD, right? And someone went
Yeah.
and had, you know, done experimental wounds after the fact, it would smell much different. But I will say that I've
Mhm.
always felt there was a component of not like heavy cartel drugs, but maybe just some casual using of drugs because these girls were obsessed with staying thin. If you look at them nowadays, they look much different. And some of the things that I've seen on social media with Hunter, since we're on this subject, has been like he was Pimp Daddy. That's what they called
Yeah.
him on social media. And I'm like, what? What was really going on here was a little small business on the side of maybe a little bit of a lot of things.
Well, that's kind of funny that you say that because in the audio that I transcribed, there is also another portion I forgot about where he's talking to Kaylee or Maddie, and he's like, I think it was Kaylee, and he said, "Oh, you thought you was gonna turn something about you thought you were gonna turn this into a college whorehouse," and she said no, and he said, "I watched you." So that's why I keep coming back to the stalker thing. Did somebody fucking have cameras inside of that house on them if there was a rug operation being ran? Did someone have cameras hidden? Nowadays, you can buy a freaking pencil and it can be a spy camera. So I wouldn't, I mean, that's what I keep coming back. Why are they trying to bury the stalker narrative that we were given at first? Because, I mean, there are people out there that will fall in love with you that don't fucking know you. And then shit like this does happen. So that's what I wonder too. But I do think it was a multitude of things, man. But at the end of the day, that's why it's so confusing because it's like, well, was it just a bunch of college kids experimenting and doing post-mortem shit? Was it a cult? Was it because there were so many elements to the crime, like the skin dogs? And you know what? I was gonna say and forgot to last night on Birdies. That's what the thought I lost in the middle of the show. I understand now kind of why Jack was so more concerned about Murphy at the beginning after I mean if he wasn't completely involved and it wasn't him, if you knew that your girlfriend of 5 years who had just been killed and there was just a skin dog and your dog ran off, man, I mean, I try to put my brain in every single situation. I've tried to see it from every aspect.
Yeah,
And
but
then I go
he
ahead.
didn't say anything to Dylan about where's Murphy? Where's my dog?
Well,
You're
you know
talking to
what's weird
somebody.
about that? In the interrogation, he says, and this is really had me stumped too, because there was a 17-minute conversation allegedly, but there's a portion of it where he said, yeah, Murphy got out and the cop asked him something along the lines of like, well, how did you know? And he said, I overheard Dylan. And I said, well, if you wasn't there and you was at home, how would you have overheard Dylan say that the dog was gone unless you was there?
Yep.
But then
Because she doesn't remember the phone call, or he doesn't. I'm sorry.
well, then how did Dylan on November 17th describe Molly if she never saw her before? I mean, there are little things like this all riddled throughout this. And I thought the other night, if this is just not the cops covering up for the frats, allegedly, what about the frats covering up for the own frats before the cops got there? What if something else totally happened differently? The frats allegedly cover it up, then the cops get there, and now they've got to cover up the cover up.
You know,
Yeah.
I've thought about it being like maybe it was some kids
Is it
from the
possible?
Pullman school, or it's just really freaky, dude. The thing that gets me every time stumped is how would they have known Kaylee was coming back unless it was from a fucking insider? And I mean, the
Right.
perfect photos of Dylan, I mean, everything. But that's the
Well,
thing, too. Were they just
I
trying to find someone to frame and said, well, fuck, they'll definitely think it was Jack and Dylan because Kaylee and Jack just broke up and look at Dylan's pictures on social media. Maybe Dylan was
well,
freaking out because she thought she was going to get framed too. Who knows?
I
I
thought
still
maybe
think
in the
Dylan knows
beginning that,
more.
oh, absolutely. I always thought that maybe I told Adam everything is that Kaylee was leaving that morning and not going to come back.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty weird too. So, could something have gotten back from that time point from Adam? Because in the audio, if that's the real audio, he says there was no talk about you moving away. And she said, but I got a job. So, did they tell Adam something? And on the
Yeah,
way home,
she got the
you know,
job. She was leaving.
Yeah, but she still
Something
had her
triggered and
stuff.
sparked him, and I'm getting in the car.
Didn't she still have her stuff
The
though
well,
in her room?
it looked like there were plenty of stuff that was, given to the
Still in
parents.
her
They
room.
said they got
Oh,
boxes and
yeah.
stuff. But if she made the decision, I'm out of here in the morning and I'm not coming back here, I could always send the moving company to come get my stuff, or friends or family can go if she was really concerned. But I mean, there's an article I just pulled up and it said this was from Josie, Emily's best friend that hung around with Hunter all the time. They called him Pimp Daddy or something really odd. And it was never anything serious. Friends explained delayed 911 call. Nothing serious? How could they
that's
even
so weird.
be quoted? And this was July 25.
I mean, in the freaking documentary, Emily's like, well, Hunter put it very nicely and stated there was an unconscious person. And it just feels, excuse me, so weird. It's like if
But
you
she
walked in
said
that
she was in
house,
there. She was in the house. She said that the knife was on the top of the stairs.
They were all in the house, and I'm sure they all saw all four victims.
I agree.
I think everyone saw what happened.
I mean,
Yeah.
nobody acted fucking surprised, dude. Nobody acted like it was I mean, literally, if it was really like that, those college kids would have been so traumatized, dude. Why does it feel like everyone knew that this was gonna happen? Was it a purge night? Did these motherfuckers really plan a purge? And I'm sorry, excuse my language, but it just makes me mad because I mean, we see people tracking through the footprints in the back, walking over the snow. There's no murder weapons. There's no real evidence. So, and none of them kids had a real reaction. I can remember getting phone calls of people that I love passing away, and me literally hitting my knees like it's uncontrollable. And I can't imagine what it would be like to walk into a situation like that. Even if you weren't close to those friends, you would be terrified that it would be you next if you didn't know who did it, right? Wouldn't you all be fucking? I would have locked myself in my house. I wouldn't be outside on the streets. Everybody was out there, dude. And I mean, no, there's no way nobody heard that. They get noise complaints every day. Again, what are the odds? There's no noise complaints, but you know what I do find suspicious? at the 1:49 a.m. mark, there's a literal domestic disturbance call. So was that a plot? Was that somebody calling in to try to make another decoy to try to frame Jack Decor? Or, I mean, if it wasn't Jack, I just try to think of all areas, and it really doesn't make sense that none of those kids had any kind of reaction, not at the interrogations 3, 4 days later, a month later. I mean, and there's a point where the cop literally tells Jack D, I know you're apathetic right now, but eventually it's going to hit you. And we're here for you, and we have resources, and we would rather you reach out to us than you hurt yourself and something bad else tragic happen.
I'll tell you, if I had 4 friends of mine die, I wouldn't be able to walk off that property.
No, me neither. Me neither. You know, and it's terrible because we hear the story about Dylan that she walked right past him. He saw her. You know, all these other. She saw him. You know, go out the door. She sure saw this guy a lot of times.
Well, she said she got up. What's weird is she said she got up at one point and locked the door. But it's like, why wouldn't you have ran out of the house or something, for one? And for two, you should have fucking locked the door before these assholes was in there, I guess. I don't know. Not victim blaming, but it's like,
You
it's
should have
just
locked the
too
whole house up.
coincidental. It's
But
too coincidental.
but we know that Bethany's room was a mess. So how do we know that they didn't get through Bethany's window?
Well,
And
there
I
were
don't
screens
think
on
that
the
they
ground
hung out.
outside.
Yeah, I don't think they hung out in Bethany's room that looked like it was ransacked or it was
Well,
done
it's really
after. I
weird
don't know.
because they didn't really give us I've never seen crime scene photos that look so cropped. It looks like they were purposely not showing us all angles of the rooms. It's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like and there's some photos, Phoenix, where I will be like, I swear the body is like probably right behind them. It's so creepy feeling like, but none of it was good. I don't know. I've never seen a crime scene like this. I've never had anything where you can't look at the blood splatter and be able to tell the angle, the velocity, what weapon, how it was done. There's none of that here, but there was a lot of staining on the concrete, and I found other pictures that show a lot of blood on the roof. So was it not the balcony? Did Ethan try to jump out of a window and jump off the house and they pushed him before he could? Because I don't know. But I really think, just like I said with the middle of the night, there's like a portion where you hear a woman being, strangled. And that's a very personal thing. She was screaming, get off of me. This wasn't, and that's another thing. Like, how could anyone look at this, say that it was Brian Koberger at the 4 a.m. mark, which is real ironic because nothing sound wise really goes on much at 4 besides the cars driving around.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
how is it that you hear gunshots, a car wreck? People literally, I think, can't confirm if it was Dylan 100%, but when the gun goes off or the car crashes, one of the two, it's between like probably 2:15 and 2:45. Most of this happens. Somebody screams, run for your life. So obviously people were scared. No noise complaints. The cops didn't get called. Who was on duty? What was going on, man? Because if they were right over there at 3 a.m. in the middle of that field, there's no way they didn't hear what was going on if they were there at 2:15 to 2:45. Or were the boys out there and all the other people out there as lookout in case somebody ran from the house so they could catch them?
Right.
It really
I mean,
does kind of feel like a purge thing to me. And I know that sounds freaking insane that anyone would do that. But when you look at the pictures, when you look at the evidence, was this like just some weird people that all grouped together and was like, I don't know. But when you got a dude holding a steak knife at a quadruple homicide that's friends with the cops, it really feels like it's a conflict of interest to me.
but you really have to think, was this initiation time? Dina, thanks for jumping in. You got anything else you
You're
want to say
welcome.
before we go?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for jumping in. Anytime, you're
I
welcome
thought
back.
about it. There was a picture where Dylan has a t-shirt, Phoenix, and it says my boyfriend's a blood. So normally to get in a gang, from my understanding, you have to like get jumped in, you have to do something for them. Was that what this is? Is this a gang? Is it a cult? Because I've been through the, is it cartel because of the Jack in the Box? But then again, if whoever did this, they were obviously smart. So that's what's weird, man. It feels like they were just putting information out to put whoever to get framed on. They didn't care as long as it didn't fall on them.
To see what stuck. Hey, I've got Joni up next. Joni, welcome up. What you got for us
Hello.
today, Joni?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you got the real
Hi.
Jess Greens.
All right. So I'm not going to repeat everything that we've been going through because this case pisses me off like to no end. It bothers me. Call me a pro burger. I am a pro burger. I'm sorry. But the one thing that's getting to me right now is why, after all this stuff has been released, why aren't the parents doing something?
I could speak from that perspective.
I have no sympathy for them anymore. Like, I have none.
Maybe their hands are tied. Have you ever lived in a small town, Joni?
I live in a small town now, yes.
You know the politics that happen in a small town.
I do. So why go and sue too to get money? That's like selling your child. You literally sold your child.
But
well, that's weird because the statement that Steve said about something, my daughter was a sacrifice, that always struck me as weird because that's just such a particular word to use, you know?
Yeah, it is. You're right.
It is. But the logic behind this, you know, what they're trying to do is, you know, the daughter's going to college. Your career future is banked on your life expectancy. So let's just say for 45, 50 years, they're going to work and they're going to make, you know, let's just say $100,000 a year. Their life was worth more than they're asking for, if you think about it in the long run. But maybe this is the only justice that they can get because their hands are tied. And he was being very vocal when they first came out. He was like, who's going to do the right thing?
Yeah, he was.
And then it felt like he was backed into a corner to have to say this was Brian Kohberger because he's rocking the boat.
And another thing is, why have they been talking so nasty about Brian, knowing that he's not the one? Like, why are you doing that?
Well, because it's easier to just run with the narrative than use your brain for some people.
But you could just shut your mouth, like, don't say anything at all. Well, what? That's terrible.
Well, that's what the other families did. The other families have questionable backgrounds. They weren't going to speak out because they would have been ridiculed. And the Chapins hardly ever spoke out. They never went to court. I mean, if you think about it in the long run, it's better not to say anything if you are ever put in the situation.
Yeah,
it is better to say nothing. Right. They had to sell the narrative,
being nasty,
to put it in the media. They had to sell this narrative to put it in the media, whether the media was going to run with it or not. You know, obviously they have to blame someone, and they're not going to blame the real killers because we still don't know who it is.
I just feel like this was I mean, they knew they looked at Brian and thought that they were going to make money off it because they're definitely about to make a lifetime
money off of it. I promise you they've made money. Yeah.
I really hope if Brian gets out and they make these movies that he sues the shit out of them. I really do. Because as someone who was arrested and the wrong story got ran and that shit burned like wildfire to the point my dad had to call the people like, dude, if you don't stop running this fucking story, I'm suing you for defamation. This isn't what happened. And that's what happened here. And that's why I'm so passionate about it because I understand. And it's the thing, man, you never know. I tell people all the time, you got to be careful, pay attention because wrong place, wrong time.
I've been there. Trust me. I know exactly what you're talking about. I do. I was young once and I was with somebody that got in trouble and they drilled me for like 4 hours until I made a false confession and said that I was with them stealing when I was sitting in the truck. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And I think Brian was pushed to that point and to protect his family. That's my belief.
Well, you know, I wondered about that too, because if the parents know that the real unalive are still out here, don't you think they'd be scared for their lives? Because I would be scared.
Their behavior's strange. This whole situation's strange.
If that's the thing though, when it's the truth, everything lays out. And that's what I've said from the beginning, because normally when a crime occurs, they do DNA testing, they interrogate everyone. I mean, I've never seen them, and I understand they're young children, young kids, but at the end of the day, if this was a quadruple homicide, I've seen cases for less where they're like slamming the picture down, like, I know what you did to her. What did you do to her? They got
Right.
babied, first of all. And second of all,
Oh,
it's
they
like
did
if the
get
case
babied.
made sense, the pings would line up, we would have the cell phone records, we would be able to use the data, we would be able to confirm. I mean, obviously, dude, everyone's my car doesn't have a computer because I drive an older make and model, but these cars nowadays, I mean, when Casey and I went to Florida, it literally shows you everything on your freaking, on your dashboard. So it's preposterous to me that they can just put out whatever they want, put a factually innocent person into prison for the rest of their life for 4 life sentences. I mean, obviously, was this someone who they knew they were going to get the firing squad? That if they really got caught, I mean,
How
I've
do you
never
even
seen.
live the rest of your life knowing that you did that? Like I could never.
I wonder it all the time, and I wonder how Brian feels, because you would be backed into a corner. I would be so when I was so traumatized after my case that I shut down for literally like 5 years. And my mom mentioned that
Mm.
yesterday. It's how it works. So I can't imagine. And it happens every day. He's sitting in there. You wouldn't be able to trust a soul. You don't know who's a CI, and I mean, it's just crazy, dude. Imagine having to get a lawyer for a crime that you didn't commit. And then when you get one, it's like, well, we don't care what she has to say. Denied, denied, denied.
And that's another thing
Right.
is, do you think Ann Taylor
Absolutely.
did her best? Like, is she still representing him? Like, is he just going to sit there and rot?
Yeah. I
That's what
think
happens a
she's
lot
still
of times.
he has a whole team representing him. And they, one of them on the team can do a PCR, which is post conviction relief. And she is, obviously an appellate attorney, but Anne can only do so much. And I think she did do what she could based on what they barred her to do, because she had, I mean, listen to this. I don't know if you know this, but the University of Idaho, the judge put in a protection order that whatever she found out, they could not use it against them. And she
Wow.
couldn't
How
talk
is that
about it either.
even? How is that even? Like,
You
how is
know
that
what?
fair?
To
I was
protect.
looking with that
Well,
in that
protection, a protection order is to protect. They protected the university.
Well, in that, I mean, literally in that framed book by John Grisham, the paragraph that I read last week talks about political chicanery and how they corner people. And these are, you got to think, I've done a lot of research into that town, and a lot of those people are very well versed in law. So people know loopholes, especially when it comes to money or if it's going to screw you over somehow. And if your family has a long lasting reputation, I'm sorry, they don't care. Some people care so much about what others have to think and their reputation that they don't care. They would sell their soul to, make somebody go behind bars for something they didn't do. And what really bothers me the most is that if this is someone who obviously is running free, how many more people is this happening to? It just broke today that they pulled
Absolutely.
34 bodies out of Lady Bird Lake, and I've been watching the Paranormal Files literally report on this case every time he does. His YouTube gets demonetized, everything bad happens to him, and he's been saying for years, look, homeless people, college kids, people are going missing. So how many people are going missing that don't realize? Because there are people out here that are homeless or don't have friends and family. And I wonder all the time, if I take a road trip, I wonder how many bodies are out here because you don't know.
That is
Yeah,
true. I
that's
never
down
thought
in
of that.
Houston. That's down in
So
Houston, and
how,
it happens in Phoenix all the time.
and I'm
All the
telling you,
time.
that's why I come back to the HT thing too. Like, with the OnlyFans, and people hate it, and I ruffle feathers with it. But think about it, dude. They did that to tie it in so that way they could human traffic people. There was Craigslist before, like you said, and nobody
Mm-hmm.
wants to talk about that either. So it makes me wonder because, I mean, there was, the knives, but there was 600, at least a minimum that I heard of 6 weapon shots fired that night. So was there more people that passed away?
That's another thing I thought about is I think they tore down that house because there was holes in the
Casings,
wall. If you know what I'm
I do
saying?
too. I think that they couldn't find the
Mm-hmm.
casings that they lost in the bullets, and that if somebody would have
Yeah.
found them, it would have tied back to their weapon.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean,
Right. And
they didn't.
somebody did make a comment funny. There was never an OnlyFans warrant, and this person's spot on. All the warrants that were out there, I've got a whole list of them. I never saw an OnlyFans warrant.
Well, I feel like that was part of it because I promised Phoenix I have a photographic memory and I remember the day I remember where I was sitting. I remember pulling up the article and it said something about Maddie had been being stalked from her OnlyFans and it was a crime of passion. And then all of a sudden it was no, it's not. And this is what happened and nobody better question it or else.
Well, Joni, thanks for coming up and sharing your
Thank
opinions
you.
and your questions. We appreciate you.
Nope, that's it. I just wanted
You're
to
welcome
rant.
back
Thank you for letting me rant.
anytime.
Thank
Hey,
you,
if you
Joni.
want
Have
to
a good
rant,
night, honey.
this is the place to rant. Be well.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Hey, original Miss Martin, we have OG in the house. How are you?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we
ma'am.
can. What's your thoughts?
Hey, hey, Jess, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, honey? I'm glad to be here. I'm so excited.
I
I've never
know.
done a call in. This is awesome, man. I love hearing your
Yeah.
guys' series. You guys
I
make my brain
know.
work.
Well, my first question is that when you guys are talking about the college stuff, and this is for Phoenix, um, I mean either one of you, because I don't know. But was Kara Northington and Ben Mogan left off of that lawsuit?
Yeah, that you bring a really good point.
Because that
I
pisses
don't
me
know
off.
why that is.
Well,
I
do
think it's
you?
because
Well,
it's going to make them look bad as like their past.
Well,
they can
or
bring it up in a civil case. They can bring up any character witness. They can bring your whole life, your finances, your friends, your bad behavior, your past criminal
Yep.
behavior, anything against you in a civil case. And
Just
you
makes me
know,
wonder who made that decision.
to discredit that they might bring the case down. They might not have the backing that they need
Yeah.
to win this case or maybe settle out of court. I don't know. But maybe there might be something in place that they can't take any legal action if you think about it.
Yeah. True.
I mean, I
Very
wonder too,
true.
like, do you think that maybe
Maybe
they
it's part
didn't
of
join
their
the do you think they maybe didn't join because they want to do a separate investigation of their own somehow or something different? Because usually, if you get so, like, I mean, think about it. There's loopholes where, oh, we'll give you this. It's like quid pro quo or whatever the hell it's
right.
called, where we'll give you this, but in return. So it makes me wonder, did they just say, well, if you do get this lawsuit, you have to drop this forever. Don't ever bring it up again. No private investigating. We don't want to hear shit. Let Koberger rot and you can have your money. And they were like,
Yeah.
well,
I don't
no,
know. I
don't put
thought
me
about
on,
that.
you know?
Yeah.
I
I
thought
don't
about
know. It
that,
just,
but I thought about
yeah.
that, but if you look at it, it's against WSU, not Idaho State. So these people
Hmm.
have background history in Idaho State, but I don't know what's in their plea agreements. I don't know what the deals that they've made behind the scenes. Maybe they have something saying that they can't take any action further in this case. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Very true. But I was so mad because I immediately thought, this is because they're afraid they're going to bring up character witnesses, like you were saying, and
Mhm.
it was going to make the case not go. And I just thought I was so irritated. My next question is, um, did, is it true that the knife that Hunter was holding in his hands when he put his hands up on his head like this, was it true that that knife had Kaylee's DNA on it?
Now, like I said, I have looked through all the forensic documents to debunk this or prove this, and I have not found anything to date. So I don't know where this came from, but I will go through the documents again this weekend and we can put that to rest in the 10 myths. How about that one?
Yeah. Okay. That would be great because I'm really bothered by that because I don't know where I got that. And then also too, while you're at it, do either of you remember then back in the very beginning, especially you, Jess, with your memory, way back in the beginning, the 911 call? Did you ever hear the 911 call coming in at 8 a.m.?
I remember that. I do remember that being said, and it always struck me as weird because it seems like maybe, I mean, the kids
Yeah.
acted like they already knew. So that's what always struck me weird about that. But I don't know, because I know for a fact that was definitely not Dylan. And the way that she did the 911 call was so weird. She literally,
Yeah.
I mean, you know when someone's acting, and it was like, we have a roommate, but it was so fake. And then when everyone gets there, it's like nobody gave a shit. And that's what makes me mad, man, because I know as an adult, I get so rattled, which I do have PTSD, but I get so rattled. So I can't imagine walking into a scene like that and just acting like, I mean, I get people were shocked, but nobody was freaking out. If I walked up to a scene like that next to my house or my college and 4 people were brutally unalived, I really would have been like that guy who was like, hide your kids, hide your wives. Like, I would have been in
Yep.
hiding. Why would you be out with a serial killer on the loose? It makes no sense.
I'd be crying for my mom. I mean, nobody was asking for their mom.
It just seems so,
Yeah.
so like distorted, like nobody cared that was at the scene. I mean, down to the 911 call, everything felt so staged. Dylan didn't cry in any of the interrogations, but when she got to that courtroom, baby, she laid it on so thick.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not witness
She
blaming or
tried to
victim blaming,
hyperventilate.
but it's
She
like,
tried.
damn, you didn't know what was dream or reality. Now you're really, I mean, it just seems so weird. It feels like everyone was told what to say. I don't know.
Yeah. It
No,
does.
I feel
It does.
I get Dylan. I'm so confused right now, just like she was.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for jumping up, original Miss Martin. There are quite a few people
Yes.
waiting.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We
Thank you.
appreciate
Great
you, and I
question.
will either debunk or validate your question about the blood on the table.
All right. Thank you. I can't wait.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. You
Okay.
look
Bye.
gorgeous.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, Thumper, welcome. Can you hear me?
Well, yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Welcome up. How are you?
I'm doing good. Phoenix, I have a theory for you that I'm going to throw out there.
Okay, I'm
This hit
listening.
me last night. They were talking about the cartel. They were talking about follow the money. What if somebody bought into the cartel, whether it be Steve Green, whether it be the Gonzalez, the families, or whoever bought into the cartel? Okay, the cartel was supposed to go get the frats, the people that did this. They were supposed to involve them along with LE, along with the CIA, along with the FBI, along with everybody else to pull everything together. WSU didn't want anything to do with it. WSU gave up Coburger.
Well, that's a
You
good
know what?
theory.
It
Well,
really blows my mind because of the fact that Chief Fry left and then he went to Pullman after this.
Exactly. Exactly. Then that's what I'm saying.
remember,
Somebody with money somewhere, whether it be Kira Kernodle because of her past and what she did, and she stated, is it because of something I did?
mhm.
And if you pull everything together, that's going to tie up all the loose ends.
I
Yeah,
wonder. It's
that's
really strange,
possible.
man. I
I
mean,
mean,
why were the U.S. Marshals there?
Exactly. Exactly.
but were they the U.S. Marshals? I
Right.
think now, if you go back and look, Fry's badge looks exactly like that guy. And remember, Fry was trained by the FBI, and these guys look like FBI. Somebody said they were the marshals, and I kind of question that because their badges also look like sheriff's badges.
Yes, they
Okay.
do.
Now, with that being said, Fry sat down and did an interview, and he said he never went to the crime scene because he did not want to contaminate it. And when he said that, I thought to myself, wait a minute, there's a divide here.
Mm-hmm.
There is a divide that he is saying publicly he didn't want to contaminate it. Now that we see all these body cams and how contaminated this scene was
Mm-hmm.
by their own officers,
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
holy
funny how
moly, it
psychology
begins to
works,
make sense.
Phoenix. It's funny how psychology works, man, when you're guilty or you know too much, or because I just think it's funny. There was a lot of statements that just had very particular wording to it. Like I said with Steve G and saying it's a sacrifice. And then he said something about don't make me be the alpha. Midwest Chicken Shore on TikTok has literally speculated that, was that him hint dropping because when I watched the One Night in Idaho and Stacy Chapin said 2 a.m. was a dark hour, I went straight to the tapes and started listening to 2 a.m. because if Brian Koberger was there at 4, then what do you mean? But I mean, they were walking over. You know what? There's a picture that I do want to bring up, and one more thing. There was a picture. They go outside. They had on fucking booties outside, you guys, but not in the house. Nobody
Right.
had things over their shoes, but this dude's outside in the snow, in the leaves with boot covers or
Mm-hmm.
shoe
Yeah.
covers. So why
Yeah.
was that not done there? Why did you guys walk straight past the cooler on the ground and say that's a big footprint? Like anyone could leave a footprint. Anyone could text from a phone number and
Is that
not
what the booties were for? To cover up their footprints
Yeah,
pretty
to
so that
funny,
protect
isn't
so
their
it
it?
wouldn't
footprint.
match?
And one other thing I did want to ask while we're on the cartel subject, does anyone remember there was a photo I saw that was going around and it showed someone in the one of the upstairs bedroom windows and they had this like mail tote looking thing. I didn't really show the color very well. Um and I wondered then, like, who was outside taking pictures of them in their fucking window while they're standing in their house with this box thing. But then there was another photo. I believe it was a black truck, and they were loading these blue. It looks like the totes when I used to work at Walmart or my old store, and you unload
Yep.
the truck. You know what I mean? So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what was in that? Because I distinctly remember I couldn't tell you if it was Ethan. I want to say that it was. And then there's another clip where in the Law and Crime where they show up for a another noise complaint or something, and they're like, I need you to send whoever's living here to the door. And it was just so weird to me. I'm like, well, was that
Right.
something that, again, you don't know nowadays. But
A slip.
man, it's just so weird. It really is weird. But think about it, man. College kids are gonna they would make you money, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that there's been a lot being hidden, and I think I don't know. It's so hard. It really
Well,
like
I mean,
my stomach hurts.
if you think about it, the house behind them had the car broken into, and the girl's underwear and some other things were meticulously placed in the car. But I went on a live and we talked about college kids making money selling their used underwear, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, entrepreneurship is really real in college. I'm telling you, it's alive and well. But I mean, this house is in a prime position, in my humble opinion, where it's placed for the police to protect it, for who God knows what's going on. But I wanted to bring up this picture, Jess, since you talk about this a lot. Could somebody have been pushed over this balcony?
I swear that's what I think, Phoenix. Because if you go back to one of the other body cams, they come up and the couch was in front of the sliding glass doors, kind of. And I just posted this on my TikTok today. If you guys go look, it's like my probably last video I posted, the real Just Rains, and it's literally they're doing a noise complaint for somewhere else and then they go over there, but when they walk up they reported it 1122 Queen Road. So that was the
Right.
first, I was like, that's kind of just weird, another what are the odds. But it was strange to me because he kept pointing out that there was no stairs to the balcony before they even got up on the house when they're walking down the street. And I was just like, that's so weird. And then because I thought about where Steve was like, oh, they didn't have to go down the stairs. And then there was a ladder outside. So I've speculated that a lot because you could easily tie someone to that fucking balcony railing. Or if Ethan ran out, I mean, we've heard the reports that there was a naked man running down the streets. Was that them? Because there was the other clip where you see two guys in black chasing someone or running down by the apartments or whatever. And like I said, there was weapon shots fired. Was Ethan running and that's how his legs got messed up? They shot him in the legs to try to keep him from running to contain him. Because if you
Possible.
pay
I mean,
attention, go look at the different videos the media's released and compare the staining on the back porch. And
Right.
there's another picture I found where there's like a gray or a tealish swivel chair and then it disappears, just like the one chair, the lawn chair that I had pointed out, with the teal one, where I was like, did they tie them up and then tie them to this balcony railing? Because why does Xana and Ethan have more defense wounds, to the point that Xana almost didn't have hands? And I speculated too, like, well, was it a cartel hit and she was stealing and they did Kaylee's mouth for talking? Because I wondered that too. Did they shoot Ethan in his legs because he was running drugs and Kaylee got her mouth busted in for what she told Adam? And I went down that route too. It just, nothing makes sense. And it feels like it was so meticulously planned. But at the same time,
Yeah,
it
that
feels
little
like they had
swivel
backup
chair
options.
is absolutely. I mean, the crime scene, the swivel chair is right here, that green swivel chair. This chair was moved, definitely. I remember the original picture that I said, well, this is moved on the body cam too. Then you have the staining of whatever here on the gravel. That's why I said, could somebody have pushed a body over? And, who had the gash wounds in their head? Did someone, were they trying to stop what happened, or they saw what happened to Kaylee and Maddie and was like, they got caught in the act and they had to take care of Xana and Ethan and they fought the hardest? I mean, is that possible?
Well, I want to make the point that
We
if
don't
Dylan was
have.
in the house and all that was going on, if Ethan saw it and he was so willing to run away and either jump off a roof or a balcony or whatever, it doesn't make sense. She didn't run, but locked herself in a room. None of it makes sense at all.
I've always thought the
Nothing
thud
about
was
the
them
speech
kicking
makes
the
sense.
door in.
Speaking of
Yeah,
thud, hold
nothing.
on, guys. I'm gonna
Thumper,
pause my
thanks for.
microphone. My dog's going crazy. Let me
You go
let
ahead.
me.
But Phoenix,
Okay.
I just
Thumper,
wanted to
thanks
throw
for
my,
jumping up.
not a problem.
Yeah,
You have a great
we
day.
appreciate you.
Not a
You're
problem. I
welcome back
appreciate you too.
anytime.
Uh-huh.
Take care.
You too.
All right. If anybody wants to call in and chit chat about the Idaho 4 and maybe what doesn't make sense, what does, and if you have a theory, feel free to hit the link. Good time for me to drink some water. I'm still trying to get over whatever I got. Let me grab the link in case you guys don't have it. And I'll drop it below again. Feel free to click on it. Make sure you got a microphone. And you don't have to show your face if you don't want to. Be respectful. And you guys have been just amazing on this call etiquette that I've asked for. I really appreciate it. There's blood all over the side of the house. I mean, did someone fall? Did someone hit their head? Were they shot there? Who knows? We just don't have any great ideas. We don't have any great conclusions, I should say. And I am definitely going to look into the blood on the ping pong table that's been questionable. This is a great minute, real quick, to make sure that you know two things. We do have the website Justice for All. I'm revamping it now that it's back up and it's in my possession. Whoever tried to take it, how dare you? It's justiceforall.com. You can go there. You can gather everything you need in one quick shot. All the, no pun intended there were ISP records, photos, court repository, Moscow PD records. There are documents that were disappeared, that were public, officially public. You can see Mallory's request, the ISP, some pictures. I will be revamping this website this weekend, so you'll see a lot more like the old one was. And if you have any suggestions, go ahead and feel free to email us and hit the button right here. I don't know why it didn't pop up, but there it is. You can go ahead and see all these links that were missing, pictures, and if you want to send a message, you can go ahead and do that and also hit the mailing list. And if you want to start learning, this is my channel right there, linked to it. So, if y'all have any questions, let us know. Jess will be right back up.
I'm back, guys. Sorry, my dogs
This is a
have
great time to share this also with you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I hope your
they
fur
have.
babies are all good.
Oh no, they're
There
fine. They just
was,
wanted to drink. I had to put them in a room together because they love to run and come knock my tripod over. So
how cute. There was, oh, I wanted to bring this up. Now, someone had mentioned this case the other day. It's the Beatrice Six. I don't know if you've ever heard about that. Have you heard about the Beatrice Six from Nebraska,
you
wrongfully
know,
convicted of a 19? Yeah.
let me grab this book really quick. I think that it's actually one of the first things in the John Grisham book. Give me 2 seconds and I can tell
Oh,
you. I
wow.
promise you, I think that's actually one of the cases. Give me two
Oh,
seconds.
wow.
I think that's
Yeah,
the
that's
first
interesting.
one.
So yeah, the Beatrice case, well, she's grabbing that book. It basically was six individuals that were convicted, actually convicted of raping and murder of Helen Wilson. And despite all the varying degrees of involvement and the confessions that were later exonerated, it is wild that all six of these people were exonerated. All the evidence was fabricated. This lawsuit went to trial, and the group of six individuals were awarded $28.1 million. And it was
Wow.
actually upheld in the Supreme Court. And get this, one of the individuals received 7.3 million. It was dispersed very, you know, varied among all six of them. And it's wild how this case even came up. It is so, I don't even know how they got the six of these people to fall in this scheme. I'm baffled.
I was wrong. It's the Norfolk Four that's in the first one in the John Grisham Frame book. But I specifically do remember hearing about the Beatrice Six. It's crazy, Phoenix. That happens every day, man. And people don't understand, and they're like, well, why? Somebody asked me, why would you advocate for a murderer? It's like, okay, well, if there was evidence that he was guilty, then I would understand, but they can't produce anything. I've never seen a crime scene without a hair. I've never seen someone cut someone that many times and not have one single blood drop on them, not in their car. Like I said on Birdie last night, there was a case where a man unalived a woman in the 80s, sold the car in the early 2000s, so they got a tip. They go find the fucking car, and sure enough, dude, there was still trunk fibers, and he cleaned the car meticulously. And the guy, it was said it was in pristine condition. He had it for 20 years.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
really, and
remember
I
that.
mean, can a knife sheath? That's what scares me, dude. One knife sheath can change your life forever.
Yeah,
There's no.
I wonder about that because they
It's
said it
scary.
was on the metal snap and it degrades over time on metal. So I don't know about that. Now, you just said the Norfolk Four. Is that the guy in the military, the sailors?
I haven't even got that far yet, man. I started the book and then I had so
Okay.
much stuff, so I'm gonna read that tonight. But I
I
recommend
think
this
it
book
is.
to anyone who is looking to find out. I mean, this happens all the time. And like I said, if you have the money, that's what happens.
I think it is.
Basically, he was born to a underprivileged family. His mom was on drugs. He got in the streets young, and that's what happened to him. And they get
Is that
him and
Omar
on.
Ballard?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I remember reading that book. That's a good one. I'm ex-military, so that was one that I read. It was about the Navy, four Navy guys that false confessions, weren't they?
It's so crazy. Yeah, it is. And I'm telling you, man, I
Uh,
mean, I really recommend too. I don't know how many people watch the Joe Rogan podcast, but there's a man that he has on a few times so far, John Kiriakou, who used to work for the FBI. And he talks about this, man. They waterboarded someone 98 times. And he literally had nothing to do with the crime. And he kept telling them that. And they wouldn't stop. They were literally torturing him. They will do it to where they'll put you in a room with heavy metal for as many days, no food, no water. And they said that it literally is so bad for your brain that you'll just die. until they get the information they want. And this is from, I mean, a 20-year-old veteran ex FBI agent. And he was like, dude, I was scared to death. I thought I was catching the bad guys. And instead, all this backwards black ops military shit's going on. And that's really scary. You don't know nowadays. And it happens all of the time. What was there was another case that Johnny Depp had advocated for years out of these boys in Kentucky. They said that they had committed this crime. They like killed a boy by some railroad tracks or something. I cannot remember. But I mean, so it happens all the time, and it just makes you wonder. Look, there's not enough lawyers.
Oh
There's
yeah.
not enough not enough representation for how many criminals there are. And it's like, are half of these people even criminals? Are you guys even doing the work to investigate it? Because I looked up my city's cold cases, Phoenix, and I swear I was mind blown. There was
Oh
thousands.
yeah.
And I was like, man, I wish they would just give these to me and all the evidence that they have so I could sit here
Oh,
like a mind hunter, man. It's scary how
girl.
many people, how is it that so many fucking guilty people get away, but so many innocent people get framed? It makes
Oh
no
yeah.
sense. It blows my mind. And that ties
What's
down, I think, to
scary?
connections.
What's scary in Phoenix? They wanted to close the cold case department. There's like
Wow.
3,000 cold cases there. They wanted to close the whole department. It's crazy because they were understaffed, and there's just like there's no closure to them, that they wanted to just close the whole department. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. It's wild.
It just makes me wonder how many, I mean, just like how Brent Lee Kopeka was pulled into all of this. And I haven't done a lot of research into Nicholas Mowich yet. They were somehow involved in something to do with this. I don't know. But once again, what are the odds that I believe the one who was supposed to be validating that he was with BK when he bought the K bar, but supposedly the K bar came from his professor. And
Yeah.
then there's a literal video of him calling the police. And I know, as someone who has complex post-traumatic stress disorder, he was not on drugs. He was in full fight or flight mode. He said, there's been two men, they're threatening to unalive me. They didn't believe him because it's so easy to mistake someone with PTSD for a drug user, because our fight or flight goes out the fucking window, like full blown. Well, what are the odds? A few months later, Brentley Kopeka dies in a SWAT standoff where they say he's the one that cornered two men and barricaded him in a room, and then he got killed. Like, what are the odds? And it feels like, well, did you just need a statement for him to validate that? And now he's gone? Because I just found out that Molly's fucking husband was shot and killed 9 times. So who was
Oh
Molly's
yeah.
husband?
Yeah.
Was
At
he
the
pulled
trailer
in
park.
through this somehow? Is there a serial killer or someone? Because the way Brent was saying it, he said it was somebody related to his ex-girlfriend or through her, but wouldn't give a name. And he said, like, he's been intimidating me with a gun, all of this stuff. Is there just some big serial killer bully running around? Because that man's grown. So if he was that terrified of someone, but what are the odds, Phoenix? What do you think the odds are that he's telling the police that he was being threatened by
Well,
two men with a gun and then dies? By opposite, though, he was the one that started it.
Well, there was a protection order or something in regards to this whole relationship that he allegedly had with this girl. She was, I guess, causing some trouble. And it was actually a call that night on the Big Country Blotter. And I researched that whole thing, and it led back to that. So I was like, wow, there was a lot going on in Moscow that night.
That's what I mean.
A
It freaks me
lot.
out.
So, I mean, there were some calls before and some calls after. It's like a chain of events kicked off and just kept rolling and rolling. And there was a dog complaint, a dog on the loose. There was all kinds of other things going on that night. It was not a quiet night in Moscow by any means.
I mean, who skinned a dog 2 weeks before that and we never heard anything else? Because at first I was like, is it a cult? But I mean, then again, if you premeditated this, but you knew you didn't want to take the fall, did this person sit there so long and plan this to where, oh, let's make it cartel, let's make it look like Jack, we could make it look like Dylan. And that's what it feels like. So I feel like we've been going down every single rabbit hole. And it's like, why are we the ones
Yeah.
doing this? First of all, I mean, honestly, why? I feel like if half of as much work as you and the other creators that have done on this case, Phoenix, that it would have already been solved. If we could have had access to the facts and the evidence and the, the forensics and everything else. I mean, is there someone on the loose? Because look, they're just like Lady Bird Lake, 34 freaking bodies. Look at Rex Hewerman. That
Yeah.
dude literally
Oh
raged
yeah.
and went cross country. How many other bodies do you think he had? And the sad thing about it
Oh
is
yeah.
when they're prostitutes or someone, nobody gives a shit. And that really upsets me because at the end of the day, bro, their names, I mean, how many victims are out there and we don't even know that they're missing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you know what? Here's the thing. I used to be an advocate for missing persons, and they're over 18, they can go missing. It's crazy. Like
Oh
if you
yeah,
have a
wait
loved one
24
and you say,
hours
"Hey,
or
you don't have to wait 24 hours." That's not a golden rule. That is by far no golden rule, especially if you think there's maybe some foul play. You don't wait 24 hours. You call and you document and you tell somebody.
I
You
mean, they
know,
literally tell you the first 48 is the most important. So
mhm.
why is it when it comes to missing persons that nobody, it's like, okay, well, they could just disappear or do whatever. With the way that everything's going in this world, with, I mean, my city alone is like a hub for human, tea. So it's just scary. How
Mhm.
many people? And then I found out that there's an Amtrak in Moscow. So I started wondering, like, was it something to do with the film ring because that guy was there from Canada? Or you don't know, man. Was this shit put on the black market? Is that why everything was Snapchatted? Or does someone have these videos saved in their phone? And it just freaks you out because I honestly, sometimes when I make these videos, I'm like, man, I wonder if the person who really did this is watching. It's freaky, man. It really freaks me out. I don't know if any other creators get like
Absolutely.
that,
It's
man.
weird. It even, what freaks me out is when on the Banfield footage, one of the officers is looking through Saeed's phone, and Saeed is showing him pictures. Why, looking for his ID or something? Why would he be showing him his phone? I would never give an officer my phone. I have my ID on my phone. What is up with that? Is there an app to carry around your ID now? I don't know, but I'm just saying, why would a individual walking around in the middle of the evening or 3 a.m. in the morning give an officer their phone unless they were like they knew each other? That's the only thing I can think of. I wouldn't just freely hand over my DNA, let alone my phone, right?
It just all seemed, even that seemed so staged. It almost seems like, I don't know, man. It seems like everything was staged. Why were they standing over there? Right. If you were
Mm-hmm.
standing right there, how did you not hear everything that I heard? You would have heard those weapons fired. You would have
Mm-hmm.
heard those screams. I mean, let alone you could hear someone being literally strangled in the dark because when she gasped for air, it was so loud. There's no way nobody heard that. I mean, if it was the busiest game day of the year, where was everyone? And I want to know, was there a bunch of other calls that night, or was there no calls at all this night? Did the cops dispatch
Oh,
anywhere else that night besides the 1:49 a.m. call about the
no, there
domestic
were.
dispute?
Yeah, there were a couple of. Oh yeah, there were tons of other calls. A shotgun heard and across town, and all kinds of other things were happening, like sketchy stuff. But let me tell you this: I don't know if those audio, the audio that you hear on these videos that are accurate. But what I do know is accurate is the videos themselves. If
Mhm.
that video is from those cameras, I challenge every single one of you watching this and the replay crew, shout out to you. I encourage everybody to go through these videos that were released with no sound. With no sound. Turn the volume off. Turn it completely off and just watch what happens in these videos. Your sixth sense will kick in and you will be able to tell a lot more and slow them down because your first instinct is typically like I think one of the guys here earlier said, Occam's razor is the most simplest answer. When you see the guy walking around the house, what is he scouting out for? When you see people that if you play at a normal speed, they're not there and automatically they just appear, you're going to pick up some things that you probably didn't know before.
And on the
So
while
I've
we're
got
on the
best. Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that aside from not listening with the audio, if you go to the Banfield where they're the footage, you can hear a female in the background. And I watched this probably 10 times until it clicked. She was saying, "Stop it, get off me, you're gonna get in trouble." So who was that and why? She was out of the camera view, but you could distinctly hear a woman saying, "Get off me,"
Yeah, on the
blah, blah,
body
blah.
cam.
I
Yeah.
mean, and it just is very strange to me. I mean, very, very strange. It really, really
Well,
sent my
you know what's really strange to me about that, Jess, is those cops had to have heard what we heard, and why did they not go address that?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, why were they standing in the field across from the thing? Like, what, I don't know. It feels like, I don't know, dude, to catch a predator, but backwards, like to catch a
Oh
victim
yeah,
somehow or
catch a
something. It's
yeah
really
killer,
weird.
catch a
I don't,
victim.
I can't explain it. It's just so
Um,
weird. The whole, everything. And I mean, I wish there was a way for us to literally take every single footage, line the times up, and then see and compare. Because if you watch 4 a.m., all you're not going to see anything. Because, and that's the thing, man. They literally, oh, they pissed me off so bad. They said, "Oh, don't worry, they went in their sleep." What do you mean? You would never be unalived brutally like that with those type of weapons and just go in your sleep. That's ridiculous. That's preposterous.
oh yeah, I totally agree. It was some of the just weirding in what they've shared. Let me do this. I've got Best of Me up in here, and let me just add you to the stage and welcome in. What have you got for us today?
Hi, how are you guys?
Hello.
Great. How are you?
Can, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. I just kind of wanted to join in and chat with you guys. I didn't really have anything, particular to say, but I did want to ask. Hi, Jess. My name is
Hi.
Shelly, by the way, but that's my handle that I go by. Which I want to know what video you were watching where you heard all the stuff really clearly. Was it the one that Jules put out, or was it one that somebody, boosted the audio, or
Well, what
because
happened was there was another video that came out. I believe the girl's username or her name was Emily or something. And I saw that and I was like, well, if she can try to transcribe the audio, maybe I can too. So I just started putting in, Idaho 4 footage. And I was going to I mentioned this on Birdie's podcast last night that I just went through, listened to the interrogations, and then, reference the time frames they were giving. And sure enough, if you check, because I was like, no, dude, you're tripping. There's no way this is the real audio. This is some fucked up weirdo who just, posted this and acted it out. But when I started lining up the other cameras in the timing and
yeah,
realizing that the sounds were muffled from afar, but it sounded similar. I mean, you hear a weapon shot at 240 something and you check all the other cameras and you hear it. So I honestly don't know. I can say that I believe in God and I prayed beforehand that if the victims had anything that they wanted to be known, that if their spirits would lead me, if there was something they wanted heard, and I'll never get those noises out of my head. So to whoever did that, I want to give a big F you to you, because that thud, I mean, the strangling, the everything else. And that's why, because Stacy's mom said 2 a.m. was a very dark hour. And I said, well, they said it happened at 4.
yeah,
So let's check the tapes. So it's just very
right.
strange to me,
Yeah,
because I
that was
really, every bone in my body, Shelly, wanted that to be fake. I wanted it to be some just sick, twisted person trying to get views on YouTube. But maybe they were just trying to
yeah.
do their part for someone to dig a little deeper. I guess I got lucky because my phone's new and it has pretty, decent audio. But if you go to my TikTok within the last 2 weeks, you'll see the footage I'm talking about too.
Did you happen to put it on YouTube as well? because I don't have TikTok, but I was wondering, I know you've put some of your TikToks on YouTube, so
Yes,
I was
I'll
gonna
double
see if,
check if it's not on there at the end of the stream, Shelly, because sometimes I get scatterbrained. I try to keep up and post everything to all my platforms, but sometimes
right,
I forget. So I'll double check, but if it's not on there, then I'll post that tonight. But if it is, you'll be able to tell because it'll show the it'll just look like a night camera from the area. I didn't like add any, graphics or anything. I just put like the words
okay,
that I assumed was being said over it. So if it's not on there, I'll definitely post that tonight. I try, like I said, to keep up, but some days, man, when it's rolling in, you can ask my friend for days. I sat here re-listening, listening to that audio. And then at one point, I didn't realize that the audio I was listening to, I looked at the clock and it like lined up and exactly. And I was like, oh my God, that's so freaky that I'm listening to this happen at 2 a.m. or whatever time it was. And it was nearly the identical time. I had to turn it off, man, because
oh, me too.
it's a lot. And I'm
It's
not someone who
crazy.
watches horror movies or anything, but
You're right.
I'm a
Me
justice junkie,
either.
bro. I don't want to see anyone go away for a crime they didn't commit. And more, I don't want to see any more girls or men lose their lives because there's someone on the loose with an issue, man. Because that's a problem. Look at Gilgo Beach. Look at Rex Hewerman. How many women did this guy kill? And everybody was saying, look, my daughter's a prostitute, but at the end of the day, and what really pisses me off to add to this because of the media, they ran a story on one of the victims of the Gilgo Beach serial killer and said that she was a prostitute. That woman took one, it's going to make me cry. She took one Craigslist call or something because she literally was trying to do something for her kids because she had just lost her job or something, her mom said. And instead of them looking anything into that girl's life, they ran the news story that she was a prostitute, killed by whoever, drug deal gone wrong. And the whole time, this dude had been out there literally killing people for God knows how long from across country. He had houses all over, and I'm sure more. There was another guy who had freaking storage bins. Did you see it? He was the Amazon killer. He was reviewing shit on Amazon saying this is great to do this to people or this is great. And eventually there was a woman who was literally locked inside of a storage container that was buried underground. He had
Oh,
been doing this to everyone for years. He had been and literally
Oh
reviewing
my
the shit on
God.
Amazon and getting away with it. It was crazy. And if you watch the police body cams and
no.
shit to that, it's mind blowing, dude. He literally was doing the same thing. So that's why I don't know, man. That's why I started asking about did they have social media OnlyFans because you see it all the time, man. Somebody gets obsessed with some creator. I mean, there are literal people that go live and then somebody will know their location and come unalive them just for clout or to be, whatever. So, but I think
Oh,
whoever did this, I really am scared that if it's not Brian Koberger and it's not some just random kid with an anger problem who exploded one night, then is there a serial killer on the loose?
right. I sometimes get worried for, creators when they really hit something close and I feel like wow, they're really onto it. It worries me sometimes, like I want to know more and I want them to dig into it more, but then I'm like, gosh, I hope they're safe,
No, it's
because
sad
you
though.
don't
It shouldn't
know.
it
You
shouldn't have
don't,
to be like that when there's somebody's life and that's possibly
or we're
completely
just trying to
innocent or
find the
not.
truth.
Mhm.
It's,
That's how
and
deep
get
drugs are
justice.
Well,
gotten and money. Anything that's what I never understood about Dylan. Then wouldn't she have been a loose end? Don't you think you would have just I mean, that's just for my if I was somebody like that, that's how I would think, man, because that's how most cases go.
absolutely. I'd agree.
Yeah.
Best of me, thanks for jumping up here and sharing your views with us. We appreciate you. You're welcome back anytime, girl.
Okay, thank you, hon.
Hi.
Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right.
Hey, I got this video. All right, you ready for this? Listen to what Gunderson, this is Gunderson's video cam. Listen to what he's got to say. There's a car coming through.
Hey Jay, sorry to bug you. We have a quadruple homicide on campus. Can you come in and start?
Whoa. I didn't make this shit up. It's on the internet. It's on the body cams. I mean, did this happen on campus? Is this what Kaylee and Maddie were running to go see Xana and Ethan?
Homicide on campus.
Could that be possible? I mean,
I
there's so many twists and turns. Go ahead, Jess.
I still want to know about why was everyone looking at their phones at the grub truck saying, Xana, no. In the Fight Club. I've heard so much about this supposed Fight Club.
mean,
I would love to know. And you know what, Phoenix? Kids talk. Why has no college kids ever come out on social media or nobody's ever said a word? It's like literally there's a
Why are
book that
they
I
so
have that I
silent?
just bought too called Our Little Secret by Kevin Flynn, where a guy went to prison for a murder that he never committed just because the little college town all decided fuck Danny Paquette. They didn't like him. So he went to prison for 20 years. That's insane. And I mean, that was the 80s. So it's insane. It really is, man.
Who?
With the technology we have, why didn't anyone get a lie detector test? Even if it's not like validated in court or whatever, why did nobody get a lie detector test? Why did nobody? I didn't see anyone getting their hand scanned for, and the blood. I'll never get over it, dude. Maddie's fingernails. I'll never get over that. That was when I was like,
Yeah.
yep, that's weird. Why would you have DNA under somebody's fingernails? And that's a telltale sign of fighting back in self-defense. So it makes no sense. I would love to
Yeah.
know if they even still have that evidence in custody, Phoenix. I really would. Or did it disappear too?
Well, they're supposed to preserve it, but Gunderson was calling Jay Waters, right? He is like a traffic and patrol cop, and obviously they needed some extra hands. But it's wild. I mean, he's had 14,000 traffic stops and 5,000 citations, and they're calling him to come and help with the quadruple murder. And Gunderson says on campus. Did this happen on campus? Or was that just a slip? I mean,
well, it would make sense. There's no
there's so
evidence
many
of any
twists and
crime
turns in this
there.
case.
The crime scene was so clean that would make
That's why they had there.
sense, transferring a body and then getting rid of the evidence of the trail of the whatever it was. And I don't know. I really do wonder, because think about it. If it did, is that why they moved it, Phoenix? Because of the money? Because they didn't want to get sued if it was on campus? Because what about Hudson Lindau? What about, I mean, that's what I want to know. I want to look into every other college kid or between Pullman and there that's ever gotten her. I would love to know. Because how many more kids is it going to be? When the first time I heard about Hudson, I really wondered, like, did somebody fucking waterboard him? He was a swimmer, dude. It's like the irony, and he dies in 6 inches of water. There's more victims. That's what really gets me. There's way more victims than just 4 in this case. I mean, just alone adding in Molly because she was there and probably got traumatized for life, man. Brent Kopeka. I don't know how Nicholas Mowich ties into any of this, but it seems like, I don't know, was there loose ends? Because why are all these people just randomly?
I don't know, but I think it's the point the finger and see what sticks. He did it. No, he did it. No, let's confuse everybody. Everyone doesn't know who did it, but only the 2 unalivers know who did it, right? So here's the deal. I'm going to play a clip. Somebody asked me to compare audio. I've got a clip from Outkast, by the way. Shout out to him. This is pretty intense if you haven't heard this. Listen to this voice, and then let's go back and maybe, Jess, you can listen to your audio that you've transcribed and see if you recognize this voice. Just a thought.
This is Sergeant Hathaway.
Hey, how's it going, sir?
Hey, how we doing?
My name is. I want to make like a statement about, the night of this Saturday.
Okay, what's going on?
I'm just friends with Maddie. I was with her at the bar that night. And I forget who, I don't know the person we left with them. We left to get grub truck at like 2, and we were there from like 2 to probably latest 2:30. And then she and the other lady got picked up in a silver sedan. That's my only description I know. And then they went home from there. And I just wanted to let you guys know, as far as like I knew about her whereabouts. I don't know if that helps. with anything, but
I mean, yeah, anything helps. You said you were with them?
I was with Maddie at the corner club, and then they wanted to leave Maddie and our friend. I don't recall who her friend was. Yeah, I was intoxicated, but then we went to Grub Truck, and they got picked up from Grub Truck.
Okay.
As far as I knew about her whereabouts that night.
Okay. Well,
yeah, she just got in a silver sedan.
But you don't know who it was or anything?
No, I didn't see who the driver was.
And you said your name was?
Yes, sir.
How do you spell your last name? And do you have a middle initial?
Yes, sir.
Date of birth? What's that current address for you?
Yeah, I'm right down the road.
You said.
Sorry for the beeps. That's them redacting it. But listen to what he says next.
Yes, sir.
Is that where you're at now?
No, I drove home this morning.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Boise.
Oh, Boise.
Yeah, I was just talking to my parents, and I didn't know if I would be helpful or not. And anything could maybe help. So,
what's a good phone number for you?
Yes, sir. It's
And what's the address that you're at now?
It's Boise, Idaho.
In Boise?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
And you said that's your parents' place. What are your folks' name? Is there a home phone at that house?
Yeah.
What is it?
You want it?
So.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like I don't know how often they use it, but
I don't
think it's like a.
So you said.
Yeah.
What was the last four?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you just drove home today?
Yeah, it just seemed like everyone else in my house in Oregon County was leaving, and I do live right down the road, so it kind of seems unsettling being around. Yeah.
No, I get it. Do you have a roommate or anything?
No, I live by myself.
Gotcha.
I live by myself. I don't have a roommate, but everybody was leaving in his house. Didn't he say that?
Yep, that's pretty weird. Jack S., I just want to say a few things here in regards to this. This is how any of this started for me. I listened to that clip and I realized that he definitely lied. They did not leave the grub truck at 2 or 2:30. Olivia had said it was closer to 12:56 or so, or around the 1 a.m. mark that they had left, which would make sense because I believe the girls were, they walked in maybe around 1:20, 1:30-ish. He left at 1:43, first of all, alone. So that there's no alibi there, right? Second of all, I did a little research earlier and I don't know if it's related, but we spoke last week about that weird Reddit account, the John Rogers 1122, right? Well, his name has that name in it, but did you know that John Rogers is also a school out there? So is he related to them, like Jack, John, Show, Rogers, Showwater? But what are the odds too that I mean, it was said John Rogers 1122 was the Reddit account, and it was speaking to an account that said BK something, talking about, you can dry the paint in 5 hours, or if you use this primer, it'll help. And it was just so weird. So when I found that picture, and I'll send it to you later if I haven't already, I can't recall. It was right before the stream I found it, but it was like yellow and purple was their thing. But I also find it strange that he was with Maddie, but he called Kaylee Kylie in another clip, or maybe it was that clip, and it's like, that's distancing language. So, and there was multiple people who specifically called her Kylie instead of Kaylee. And if you know anything about psychology, people do that. If you guys don't watch Deception Detective, man, he's really good. He's an ex-FBI linguistic person. And maybe that's where my ear came from, because I listened to him a lot. And You know, he tears down, he's done the Summer Wells case, the John Benet Ramsey case, and he goes through the interviews word for word and just points out the discrepancies, you know? So it makes you wonder why everyone was calling her Kylie and lying about time frames. And, you know, Boise is enough time. If that car wrecked in the middle of the night and they called around noon, it would probably be around the same time that they arrived to wherever he was, possibly. I mean, the car was found in Eugene, Oregon, about 7 hours away.
Absolutely.
If they left at 5 in the morning and drove, they would get there at what, around 11ish, you know, unless they stopped for a bathroom break or whatever is the math I was mathing. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's just so many loose ends. But I thought that audio would be great for you to go back and listen to the video that Emily put out. And then you actually have the audio that you transcribed. I mean, just go listen to the voices and slow it down a little bit and tell me what you think. So I just want to thank Jess. You've been here. I can't believe we've been on for 2 hours and 35 minutes. You have been awesome. Thank you for all the callers that called in to either give some comments, a theory, questions, praise. We greatly appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, Patty, for your beautiful sticker. And we've had a new member, Janice. Welcome in to the family. And we'll be doing this probably again if you guys want Jess back. And you know, new documents are going to drop. We're going to be able to see a little bit more, hopefully. I don't know why I have the hiccups, but we will definitely be back live. Jess, I thank you so much for jumping in on the stream. And I think this went really well. What do you think?
I love it. I love hearing from you guys. I'm sure some of the questions that you ask, you know, we probably get them commented a lot, and I try to keep up. And you know, when I get a comment a lot, I try to do a video reply or whatever. So thank you for having me again, Phoenix. It's really awesome. You have a really amazing channel of people that are bright thinkers and just you're absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor as always. And I love to hear what everyone has to say, man, you know, because we all have a different perspective, a different point of view, and people pick up on different things, you know. Like I said in my video earlier, some people are good at audio, visuals, comparing stuff like that. There are people that are good at documents, you know. So I just want to say thank you, Phoenix, for your undying devotion to this case and to the victims of this case. So thank you for using your voice and your platform. I personally, of all people, know that it can be very scary talking about stuff like this because, you know, if you bury something good enough, you're not going to want people like me, you, Birdie, Sammy, you know, digging into stuff. So I don't know. But either way,
Absolutely.
man, the
Especially
justice, they deserve it.
especially if it doesn't make sense, because here we ask the real questions, we ask the unthinkable questions. So Jess, thanks again, and I always say thank you for matching my energy. It has been a pleasure having you on. They all say yes, bring Jess back. We
Yay.
will bring you back if you're open to it next Friday. And you know, I have a smaller niche channel, and that's okay. But I love the quality of our guests that come to our show. And look at that. Grace, we love you too. What a great show. Yes, have her back. Thank you. And on the way out, you guys show my mods a lot of love, because in order to bring a safe space here, it takes a lot of work and time. And we've done that over the last 8 months. So I appreciate every single one of you. Just take care. Be
Yes,
real.
ma'am. Thank you so much. And like I said, to whoever
I'll
said,
see you
I'll
later.
double check my YouTube. And if the audios aren't on my YouTube, guys, then I will put them up. And please subscribe to my channel too, so that way we can keep this ball rolling. I'm gonna try to
Yep.
do a deep dive into some documents and you know, I've ran through some of the audio with a fine tooth comb, and I think next week I'm going to hit some documents. People been wanting me to do like a, you know, start point to a end point. So I'll try to do that as well, man. I don't know. It feels like Mindhunter. It really does. I don't
Yeah.
know how else to explain it. So thank you so
Everyone go
much,
give
Phoenix.
you're welcome. Give us a like, go follow and subscribe to The Real Jess Rains. We appreciate you for being so real. Take care, girl. And to all my mods, love you so much. Love every single one of you that come in here and tune in the replay crew. I couldn't be here without you. I appreciate it. And I will be still sharing everything that I find factual with evidence, receipts to back up. Be well, everyone. Be well. I'll see you back here. I've got 2 streams planned. You don't want to miss those. Be well.
I've been chasing shadows in the night. Words echo silent where I hide. Every mirror shows a stranger's eyes, searching for the part of me that's mine. But the sky ignites a spark inside, burning down to wait. In the ashes of my fight, truth is born again. I won't rise up like a phoenix from the flame. Find my voice and call out your name. From the roots of what I used to be, I'll embrace the truth and set it free. Blinded by the weight of all my fears, I let them break me, shake my day. Every scar's a testament to love. Now I rewrite the story in my mind. Yeah, feel the fire burning. I'm no longer turning away from the truth that's calling. I'm alive today. All I used to be, flash of freeness, flies Larry, and set me free. Rising high, phoenix, watch me go.